HOJO Radio.
This is Sandy Becker saying, keep cooking with Crisco. It's all vegetable. It's digestible.
DuPont presents the Cavalcade of America. A recent survey of the listeners to these programs in the Cavalcade of America presented by DuPont disclosed a number of interesting things. One of them was that of the several million people listening every Wednesday evening, about 81% are adults and about 19% children. In connection with the interest taken by boys and girls of school age, we recently received an interesting comment from the executive secretary of a state civic league. She said,
"As I go about the state meeting with various organizations, I continue to hear high praise of Cavalcade. One mother of several children told me she invited the neighborhood children to come in each week to hear Cavalcade, making quite a social event of it. She believes that listening to a program of such high caliber will help the children develop high standards of appreciation as radio listeners."
It gratifies DuPont to know that the Cavalcade of America is considered one of radio's better programs. Certainly this result is closely related in spirit to the phrase used by DuPont chemists, better things for better living through chemistry. The DuPont Cavalcade Orchestra plays as an overture Victor Herbert's famous Panamericana. Tonight we bring you two stories of American resourcefulness. The first opens in 1849, the year of the great California gold rush. Thousands of Americans rushed to Panama and, crossing the isthmus, embarked on West Coast vessels for San Francisco. Our story begins in Panama on the muddy tropical waters of the River Chagres as a canoe carrying two Americans and manned by natives paddles west.
Come on. Faster, men! Faster! We gotta get to California while there's still some gold left.
Oh, let the poor Indians set their own pace, Carr. Even after we reach Panama City, we'll have to wait for the boat to San Francisco on the 30th. Isn't that right?
Well, Bristol, the way we're going now, we won't be there by the 30th. Faster!
No point.
Say, Carr, what's that ahead of us, a raft? But there's a white man on it.
Looks like it. Out here in the middle of the jungle. Looks like he's fishing.
Ahoy there, raft!
Ahoy yourself.
Senores, vengo aquí. Where's this,
We'll pull up alongside that raft. Hurry up, pull over there. Hurry up.
Who are you?
I'm John Judson Ames, American citizen. Bound for California as you probably are. Catch hold of that canoe there now.
All right.
A man going to the gold mines and he stopped to fish.
I'm no gold miner, sir. I must be nearly the only person going to California who isn't. I'm poking about with this hook because I've lost the most valuable part of my baggage overboard. Good heavens. What? I can see it just below the surface. Some kind of machine, isn't it?
A gold mining machine? We'll salvage it, Mr. For shares.
It's a printing press, gentlemen.
A printing...
What in tarnation's name you bringing a printing press to a gold rush?
Maybe knows a way to mint metal with it. Come on, Bristol. The sun's touched him.
No, wait a minute. Look here, Mr. Ames. I think it's too bad you've lost your press, but you mustn't stay out here in this swampy water looking for it. You might get tropical fever. I can't go away and leave it, sir. I spent all my money buying it in New Orleans. The citizens of San Diego are waiting for me to come. This press will put out one of the first newspapers on the West Coast.
You mean if you get it off the bottom of the Chagres? Let's get on, Bristol.
Mr. Ames, if you're a smart man, you'll get into this canoe with us and let us help you to Panama City.
If you don't come now, chances are you'll miss out on all the good mining claims.
Thank you, gentlemen. I won't forget your kindness. But I must stay with my press.
Well, let's go then.
All right.
Push her off, boys. Now pull away. Pull fast.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
Good luck.
Goodbye. Goodbye. Now, let's get ahead with our work.
Perhaps it is wiser you go, Senor Amos. We no can get this big machine out of the river.
We'll get it all right. Hold my hand while I lower myself into the water here.
Si, senor. There you are.
Yeah, the water's certainly slimy. Well, I'll take a deep breath and go under. See if I can tug at it underwater.
See. He's strong as an ox, this senor. We'll get it yet. Hey, he has it. Pull, muchachos. That's right. Bueno. El más valiente, hermano. El más valiente.
A few weeks later, in the coastal town of Panama City, Joseph Bristol and Len Carr again meet with John Judson Ames, whom they had left fishing for his printing press in the Chagres River.
Well, John Judson Ames. That's right, sir. We meet again. You remember my name. By all that's holy, Jane. Oh, what's the matter with you?
Why, you don't look human.
I lost weight out on that river, and now I've just finished walking over the mountains from Galgona. Now, look what I brought with me.
Why, are all those little donkeys yours? 1, 2, 10 of them.
And look what's on their backs. My printing press. I had a terrible time fishing it out of that river, and then when I got it to Galgona, I found I had to take it apart to get it over the mountains. And you've got it on all those donkeys? Well, what's the matter? Nothing. But Carl and I were worrying our heads off, wondering what had happened to you. And here you got into Panama City before we even caught a boat. I've got to get a ticket on that packet tonight. Where's the steamship over?
Why, down the street a ways, we'll take you.
They've raised the rates on tickets again. It's $500 now to San Francisco. $500? Haven't you got that much, Ames? Well, it took so much to pay off the natives and buy the burros. Well, they've got to let me go north for $300.
There's not a chance they will.
Well, if I had the money, I'd loan it to you, Ames. I don't see how you're going to get anywhere on $300. No, I'll get to San Francisco. I've got to figure it out. Is there a newspaper here in Panama City?
In this place?
This is just a collection of mud huts, Ames, full of Americans waiting for the boat. Even a tent city needs a newspaper. Gives a community spirit. One issue of a newspaper might put this town on its feet.
Yes, but you couldn't.
You two have got to help me. For pay, of course. For nothing, Ames. But you don't even know our names. I'm Joe Bristol, and this is Len Carr.
Yes.
We'll do whatever we can, of course. Thanks, Bristol. Then you find a Spaniard that can write. Part of my paper will be in Spanish. Then you go up to every American in town that will talk to you and ask him for the news out of his letters from home. That'll give us news from all over America.
For Pete's sake.
Tell them what it's for. Community enterprise. And, Carr, you show me where your tent is, and we'll start putting this press together. I want to get out on the issue by the next boat.
John Ames, with the help of his newfound friends, set up his press in Panama City. A few days later, outside the tent office of the Panama City Herald, where a delighted crowd is gathered, most of them reading newspapers.
Hey, here's an item from my hometown. Listen, Saginaw, Michigan. Bert Kellogg's prize cow Bella gave 30 quarts of milk the week of July 1st, believed to be a record for this part of the county. Congratulations, Bella. Where's the newspaper office? Right inside, friend. You better hurry, though. They're running off another edition, but it's going like hotcakes. I gotta get a copy. You know, I kind of like this here editorial on Slaps the Mosquito.
Say, here's Mr. Ames himself.
Hello, Mr. Ames. Fine weather.
Well, I'm glad you like it, folks. Can I get through to the office?
Sure thing. Right through here. Make room there for Miss Ames.
Thanks. Oh, Bristol. How'd it work?
Ames, come on in. Guess how much cash we've taken in just since you stepped out.
$50. You got enough for your passage now? Sure. Just a question of getting the press aboard. The ticket agent from the steamship line has been waiting to talk to you. This is Mr. Armana.
Senor Ames.
Senor Almana, welcome to the office of the Panama City Herald.
Gracias, senor. I want to tell you how much I like your paper and how proud I am to read the wonderful article about our ship that sails tomorrow.
Senor Armana, how would you like several more free advertisements about your ship in the first issues of a new paper in San Diego?
Oh, senor, that would be splendid.
It would help your business, wouldn't it?
Oh, without doubt.
Then, would you transport my printing press there, free of charge, in return for advertisements?
Senor, because I hear something of your story, I admire you. You give me the advertisements, and the printing press may go north free.
John Judson Ames got his press to California and published one of the first newspapers in the Southwest, the San Diego Herald. The Herald held its own for about 10 years, but the southern coast cities of California had not grown as fast as Ames had hoped, and finally he reluctantly moved his press to the gold camps. In 1851, in San Bernardino, in a small, rough shack, John Ames lies ill, and a friend, Edwin Sherman, sits by his bedside.
Sherman, are you still here?
Yes, I'm here, Ames.
I hate to quit.
Now, Ames, you haven't got the strength to put out a paper anymore. You've missed 2 issues now.
Couldn't help it. Sherman, do you still want to buy my press?
Why, sure I do, Ames. I don't know where I'm going to find a press if you won't sell.
Well, I've got to ask you a few questions first. Get that Bible over there.
Sure. Here you are.
Now, put your hand on it.
Yes.
First, are you for Abe Lincoln?
You know I'm a Lincoln supporter, Ames.
Now you are. Will you be all the time, no matter what happens? No matter how many people run him down? Will your newspaper favor him?
Yes, Ames. I promise.
If I die, and you break that promise...
You can trust me, Ames.
I've worked hard, Sherman. Not much success. I had a big newspaper in a little town. Towns didn't grow as fast as I thought. But they will. This West is a fine country.
Yes, I know. That's why I want to take your press over into Nevada.
Take it, Sherman. You can do more good now than I can.
Thank you. Ames, I'd like you to listen to this dedication for my first edition. The press on which this newspaper is printed has braved the seas, the rivers, and the floods. It has set forth no disloyal sentiments. It has won the love of its friends and commanded the respect of its enemies.
died. His press served many years more in the growing West, publishing such early Western papers as the Esmeralda Star, the Eno Journal. When its usefulness was ended, it was preserved as an historical memento and rests in honorable retirement in the Museum of Americana at Dearborn, Michigan, as a reminder of the resourcefulness of John Judson Ames. The Cavalcade of America, presented by DuPont, moves on. Our modern episode this evening tells a story of the Coast Guard, an organization famous for its ability to meet all kinds of emergencies. Our story opens on an isolated island off the mid-Atlantic coast. The ice floes of a severe winter have piled up around the island, hemming it in from ships. At this moment, two small boys, sons of island fishermen, trudge with their sleds out across the ice toward the open ocean.
We're getting out awful far from shore, Dick. Oh, this ice is thick, Sammy. We could walk clear out and look down in the water. You better not. Listen to that. That's the ice floe cracking. All right, scaredy cat, go back home. You're the biggest scaredy cat on Ritter's Island. No, I'm not. Watch me. I can pick up this sled and run and coast way out. Look. Oh, I can coast further than that. Hooray!
Let's run and see who can slide faster,
All right. Come on. 1 for the money.
Yeah?
2 for the show. 3 to get ready. And 4 to go. I won. Let's do it again. Hey, we're getting near the edge.
Let's start back. Oh, the ice is making noises again. Look, Dick. There's water in back of us.
Where?
Between us and shore.
Gee, you're right. A lot of water.
We're floating out. Dick, we're floating out into the ocean.
Two small boys float to sea. A few hours later, in a nearby Coast Guard headquarters.
Coast Guard headquarters. Coach speaking. Just a minute. It's for you, Lieutenant.
Thanks, Jim.
Lieutenant Gordon speaking. What is it? My Lord, what next? The whole eastern seaboard's falling to pieces.
Say, how long has it been since he had any sleep?
3 or 4 days. Been supposed to start south on his leave every day for a week.
Yes, I
every
know.
day something happens.
Well, if he's going to wait for things to stop happening around this station, he'll do without leave
Well,
the rest of his life. He needs it, though.
Yes,
Running on his
of course.
nerve.
Yes, we might be able to land a plane at Ritter's. We've only got about 40 minutes of daylight left. All right, we'll do what we can. Yeah, that's a promise. Goodbye.
Chief, we can't land a plane at Ritter's. That place is bad news in good weather.
Well, this man swears there's a patch of open water in Southey's Cove close to shore. Get me a chart that shows Ritter's, will you?
Sure. What do they want a plane for, anyway?
Oh, a couple of kids got caught in an ice floe. The fishing boat picked them up, but instead of bringing them to the mainland, carted them back across the ice to the island. No doctor can get there in a hurry, and they've got to have medical help.
Here's your chart.
Oh, thanks, Jim.
How did the word come to shore?
Amateur radio, and then relayed around by telephone. Yeah, by the time a cutter could get there and cross the ice and carry them out again, it might be too late.
It's 4:30 now. It'll be dark by 5.
I know it. You better go out and warm up number 3.
You really going to try it, Chief?
Naturally.
Now, don't get me wrong. I'll go out there and try to land in a bathtub if I have to. But that water around Ritter's is full of floating logs and chunks of ice.
This is my trip, Jim. I once hung around that island a month, waiting to spot some smugglers out of Havana.
Your trip, huh? Can't I come along?
Co-pilot and radio man if you want. It's strictly a volunteer job.
Okay, I'm volunteering. Say, aren't you supposed to start south on leave as soon as you go off duty tonight?
Sure. Let's go. If we get back in time, I can catch a 10 o'clock train.
Okay.
When Lieutenant Gordon and Jim Coates started for Ritter's Island, they knew that a dangerous landing lay ahead of them. They found the island by lights in the windows of a few houses, and guided by them and a bonfire built by the natives on shore, they brought their plane down in a tortuous inlet. Some time later, inside the plane, just before the takeoff.
Jim, are those kids strapped in safely? Yeah, they're tied to the floor. One of them's thrashing around a good bit. The other one's too sick to notice. Poor little shavers. All right, we're all set then, Jim. Say, I gave out 4 flashlights to fishermen to mark the end of the channel. I can only see 3. I see the 4th. Over here to the right. Oh, yeah, I see it. All right. Everybody out there, keep clear ahead. Well, she revs up okay, Jim. Goodbye. Goodbye. Well, Jim, keep your fingers crossed. Oh, we'll be all right if we don't pile up on a skiff or a hunk of ice. Well, this thing... The left wing missed that dory by about 4 inches. Yeah, I know. I felt good when I'd squeezed into that pond, but I feel a lot better about getting out of it.
I want to get out. Let me out.
What's the matter, son?
I want to get out.
Jim, you take the controls. I'll go back there. Got the ship? Okay.
I want to get out. I want to
Here, what's the matter? Scared of the plane, youngster?
No, but Sammy won't talk to me.
Sammy. Now listen, Dick. Sammy's pretty sick, see? He's got a choking in his throat, like you have, and he aches all over. Let him sleep, will you, son?
All right, but take off these darn straps.
Now listen here, Dick. You've got to do something for me. I flew all the way out here to get you, and it was hard to get down and hard to get up. It was so hard, I was plenty scared to try it.
You were scared?
Yes, I was. Now, will you do something for me? Try to go to sleep? Headquarters is coming in, Chief. All right, you take it. Gordon and Coates in plane 3 answering. Plane 3 answering. Oh, Jim, tell headquarters we made Ritters and we're rushing the kids to the hospital.
The plane rushes through the darkness and makes an easy landing at the naval base. A short time later, in the hospital, as Lieutenant Gordon waits in a corridor.
Lieutenant Gordon?
Oh, yes, Doctor. I've been out making calls to my headquarters, but I wanted to know how the boys were doing before I left.
Well, the little one, Sammy, is still a pretty sick boy, but he'll pull through.
Good.
You're no connection of their families, are you?
Well, no. You see, I only picked them up when a call came into the Coast Guard headquarters.
Doctor, could you come here for a moment?
Yes, what is it, Miss Redmond?
Well, one of these boys is a handful. For the last hour, he's been demanding to see the pilot who flew in here.
Well, Lieutenant Gordon's right here. Lieutenant, if you have time.
Oh, certainly. I want to see the kids. That's what I came back for.
You'll come right in.
Thank you.
I want
Say, you crying again, Dick?
No, I'm not. I thought you'd gone away.
Well, I haven't. Nothing like that.
I'll leave you with them, Lieutenant.
All right, thanks.
Sammy's lots better. Yeah, I feel fine.
That's great, Sammy.
They gave us something that made us all hot inside. Whew.
Well, didn't I tell you you'd like this place? Why, you'll have chicken and ice cream, and you'll be good and warm all the time.
Sammy keeps crying because he can't see his mother. Oh, you keep crying for yours, too.
Now, listen, both of you. That's just the way not to get well, see? Now, as soon as the ice floes are out, your mothers will be over here right away.
But what about tonight? Yeah. I never was away from home before. At night.
Well, all right. If you two fellows will be good and do what the nurse tells you, maybe I can remember a couple of stories.
Oh, gee, I bet you know a lot of stories, Lieutenant, about airplanes and going after sinking ships and chasing smugglers. Do you know anything about big ships? I'm going to be a ship captain.
You are, huh?
Yeah.
Well, now, let's see.
Lieutenant Gordon.
Oh, yes, nurse.
Mr. Coates is calling on the telephone. He says to tell you he called headquarters and that he's to take the plane back and you're to start on your leave tonight. He says to come out to the airport right away. You just have time to get a train south.
Well, will you tell him, nurse, that I'll see him back at the station tomorrow or the day after?
You're not leaving?
Not tonight.
Oh, stay with us.
Tell him I've got a job here I haven't quite finished.
In small matters as in great, the Coast Guard meets constant danger, a life that is a series of emergencies. Required to stand ready for 100 varied tasks day and night, the Coast Guard, one of the most resourceful organizations in the world, has won a foremost place in the cavalcade of America. the ability to find an answer to the toughest problem has always been an outstanding national trait. This spirit exists on land and sea, on farms, in cities, and in chemical laboratories. The resourceful modern chemist produces curious and remarkable things. Who'd ever believe, for instance, that men could make sponges from cotton or from trees? Wooden sponges. Well, they can. Both cotton and wood are composed largely of a substance called cellulose. Chemists turn cellulose into something that looks like a sponge, acts like a sponge, in fact, is a sponge. Put it on the sea bottom and you almost could fool the fishes with it. This new cellulose sponge, only recently placed on the market by DuPont, is very tough and durable, yet remarkably soft and pliable when wet. It absorbs many times its weight of water and is not affected by ordinary cleaning chemicals. This is only one of the many ways that chemists use nature's raw materials in making articles that serve our needs. Sometimes chemical research gives us products entirely different from anything found in nature. For example, chemists found how to take cellulose from spruce trees and make a material as clear and transparent as glass, the sparkling wrapping used for so many things today. It is called cellulose film. DuPont sells it under the trademark cellophane. Another member of this same family is Celloseal, the attractive caps and bands made by DuPont and used to seal bottles for protection against dirt or germs or counterfeiting. Even rayon, that luxurious yarn used in making so many lovely fabrics, is created from spruce tree cellulose by an amazing chemical process. These examples of the work of DuPont chemists are only a few out of many, but they serve to illustrate what is meant by the DuPont phrase, better things for better living through chemistry. Songs of Home, several interesting stories of American songs we all love, will be heard next week at the same time when DuPont again presents the Cavalcade of America. This is the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Showroom across America, more and more people are looking at the car that's just out and just wonderful, the 1957 Chevrolet. Some are looking at Chevrolet's daring new front-end styling, the bold new grille, big, beautiful sloping hood. Some are looking at Chevy's handsome new rear end with high-fashion fenders and fresh new design. Everyone's enthused about the new color-fashioned interiors and the sleek command post instrument panel. And the biggest news of all, Chevrolet's fuel injection.
HOJO Radio, we're your old-time radio headquarters. Stay tuned.
Hallmark card will best express your perfect taste, your thoughtfulness. The makers of Hallmark greeting cards bring you the true story of Nathan Hale, a moving drama of courage above and beyond the call of duty. Our star this evening is that popular actor of stage and screen, Richard Ney. For more than a third of a century, quality has been a habit with the makers of Hallmark cards. They have the pride of craftsmen in their name. Hallmark, Hallmark. That's why Hallmark cards are the kind of cards you can be proud to send, proud to receive. So when you want to send the very finest, look on the back for those three identifying words, a Hallmark card. Those three words, a Hallmark card, are your assurance of finest quality. They tell your friends you cared enough to send the very best. To be doubly sure, always look on the back of the cards you choose for those three identifying words, a Hallmark card. Now, to preside over our program this evening, in the absence of Richard Calmer, who is on a vacation, here is your master of ceremonies, Tom Shirley. Thank you, Harry Marble, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight we bring you a story of youth. You might call it a drama of high courage. Actually, it's the story of a young Connecticut boy who, like thousands of others, quietly did the job he had to do. His name, Nathan Hale. And to play his part tonight, the makers of Hallmark greeting cards bring you another son of Connecticut who saw active service in this war and now has returned to a growing career in Hollywood. You have seen him in Mrs. Miniver, and currently he is in the late George Apley. Welcome, Richard Ney.
Thank you, Tom. It's like a Hallmark greeting card from an old friend at the Easter game.
You're really a Connecticut Yankee, aren't you?
One of the most loyal. That's why I'm so pleased to be playing the role of Nathan Hale tonight. He was one of my boyhood heroes.
Well, he was pretty young to be a hero, Dick, but he was one of America's greatest. Ladies and gentlemen, the makers of Hallmark greeting cards take pleasure in presenting on the Reader's Digest Radio Edition Richard Ney in Portrait of an American.
Hale. When he was 19 years old, he got his degree at Yale and came down to New London to teach. That's where I met him. In the spring nights, we walked together slowly up and down the main street. Often we picnicked on the beach in summer, we sleighed in winter, we read together and laughed together. He won me earlier than he knew, and I lost him on the happiest and saddest night of my life. The happiest and saddest night of his life, too, I like to think. It was spring, and he'd taken me riding in a horse and buggy.
Alicia?
Yes, Nathan?
You happy?
Oh, yes, Nathan.
Did you ever see such a night?
Oh, it's beautiful.
Look, the whole sky is pale blue.
Uh-huh, with the fleecy clouds.
Alicia?
Yes, Nathan?
Nothing. Just Alicia. I'd love to say your name,
I love to have you say it.
Oh, I wish the world was different.
Different? Oh, I love it as it is.
You love it as it is tonight. So do I. Anyone would. Oh, but this is a bad era, Alicia. This is a bad year. Maybe this beautiful April is a bad month.
I can't believe that.
It's true. Everything in nature is wonderful, but everything in politics is rocket. They give grand an inch. They keep the taxes, and they tell the men of these colonies that they have nothing to say about it. But it won't work. Men like Hancock and Adams just won't be quiet.
You mean there might be a war?
I mean, there's bound to be a war.
I hope not.
I hope not. I think I'm afraid of war.
Maybe it won't touch you.
Anything happen? What if it does happen?
It will touch you.
Yes.
And you're afraid?
Oh, I think so. I couldn't know until I was in it.
You're not afraid.
Maybe not. I'd have to find out, though, wouldn't I?
Perhaps.
Oh, Alicia, does every man in every age feel this way in April evening? There's no certainty, no security. His plans have come to nothing. We may as well abandon him before he even expresses them.
What plans, Nathan?
Oh, plans for you and me, Alicia.
Oh? What plans for you and me?
You know.
Perhaps.
Oh, I love you, Alicia.
Yes?
What about you?
What plans, Nathan?
Well, marriage, children, a home for us. Some daily work for me to come home from. Peace and a long, happy life together for both of us.
Nathan?
Oh, you want these things, too? Don't you, Alicia?
Oh, Nathan. Oh, Nathan, the horse!
Whoa, whoa! Shall I go right up Main Street, Alicia?
Yes.
Oh, I'd like to tell your parents tonight.
Let's do that.
All right. Get up. Look at that crowd.
What's a crowd like that doing in the square at this hour?
Let's go see.
All right.
Whoa. Oh. Come on, darling.
All right with you.
Hello, Mr. Cable.
Oh, hello, Nathan. Hello, Alicia.
Hello.
It's solemn news, isn't it?
Oh, what is it?
My goodness, haven't you heard? The farmers in Lexington up in the Massachusetts colony stood up against the British.
What do you mean, stood up against them?
I mean there were shots fired.
That means war.
Oh, no, Nathan.
I'm afraid it looks like it, Alicia. Captain Bates is going to speak to us now.
There he is.
Oh, Nathan, let's go to my house. Let's go find my parents.
No, Lisa, not now.
All right, everybody. All right. All right. You've all heard the news. It's not good news because it means war. It's a funny kind of war because it's possible for you to take sides either way. You can call England the mother country and take sides with her. Or you can call Connecticut your native colony and all the other colonies banded together. You can call them your mother country. And then I say to you, you'll be taking sides with yourself. All right. All right. I'm glad to see you think this way. I knew you would. I'm proud of you. But now, are you willing to back up your sentiments with action? I'm here to enlist men to fight. Maybe to die. Who'll be first?
No, Nathan, no.
I'll enlist Captain Bates.
Nathan! We never did get married.
I knew Nathan Hale. He was just a boy, but he had an education and he had something else, too, that won him a commission. He was captain of my company in Webb 7th, Connecticut. We were sent up to Boston to lay siege to the city. Maybe you've forgotten what Nathan Hale did up there. Maybe the only thing you know about Nathan Hale is what he did later on. But what he did up in Boston in December was done by the same man. And it could have been done only by the same kind of man. I'm ashamed of this because I'm one of the soldiers who forced him into it. I remember the day a lot of us were sitting around the bunkhouse talking, complaining.
I'm sick of it.
You're sick of it. How long have you been here?
5 months.
I've been here 7.
The English are going to keep Boston if we stay here 17 months.
We don't have to stay.
That's right, we don't have to stay. My term of enlistment's up at the end of this month.
That's the same with practically all of us.
Well, then let's clear out. We're crazy to think we could win this war anyway.
I've got a girl back home. I got a farm and I got a girl. And I don't care who runs this country if I can have them both.
You're with me then?
You bet I'm with you.
So am I.
Me too.
You'll have to stand up against Captain Hale.
Well, I don't like to turn Captain Hale down, but I want to go home, and I'm going home.
Now, this isn't just talk, is it? Talk.
What do you mean, talk? It's not just talk with me. I've got a good business. I'm losing money every day of this war.
Well, if it's not just talk, you have your chance to prove it right now.
What do you mean?
I have an appointment to see Captain Hale. He's asked me to re-enlist, and I'm going to refuse. You want to come with me? Let's go. Oh.
Conway? Well, you brought some other men with you.
Yes, Captain Hale.
Well, sit down, men.
Thank you,
yes, sir. I expected only Conway, but the rest of you are welcome.
We're all here to say the same thing Conway's going to say.
And what's that?
Well, Captain Hale, we've been talking everything over. All about this siege, and, frankly, we don't think we'll ever make the British evacuate Boston.
That's funny. Colonel Webb asked me yesterday whether I thought we could get the British to evacuate.
And what did you tell him?
I told him I wasn't enough of a military expert to have an opinion.
Well, I don't know about the others, Captain. But I don't think I'm a military expert either. I don't know whether the British will evacuate. All I know is I want to go home to my farm and my girl.
You have a girl?
Yeah.
Well, I can understand your wanting to get back to her.
Oh, you couldn't understand, sir. Oh. Well, did I say something funny?
No, pardon me. I was just thinking that my girl would be pretty mad if she thought that of me.
Captain Hale, maybe we put it the wrong way. Mills has his farm. I've got my business. We've got something that we want to get back to. And we don't care who runs the country, provided we get back.
Well, do you care who runs your business?
Naturally.
Well, then you care who runs your country. It's the same thing, isn't it?
But I'm losing money in this war.
Just a minute, men. We're arguing with each other. We shouldn't do that. Conway here was supposed to give me his answer about re-enlisting. Suppose we stick to that.
The answer is no. And that goes for all of us, sir.
I see. Well, I expected that. But before we make it final, I want to offer you an inducement to stay.
To stay at these wages?
That's what I have in mind. You're paid very poor wages.
That's right. We're not officers.
That's the remark of a man who hasn't learned discipline. But it's true enough. I want to offer you more money.
How can you do that?
Yeah. Now, by giving you men my next month's pay. Now, how about it?
We were all there to see the British evacuate Boston on March 17th. I knew Nathan Hale. I met him when he came down from Boston and joined us in the Long Island campaign. I stood beside him the day that Colonel Norton lined us up on the parade ground and told us what General Washington had told him to tell us.
Well, men, General Washington is concerned over the threatening movements that we can observe the British making. One of our troubles is that we can't observe enough.
Well, that's certainly true, Nathan.
It's worried me, too.
Now, men, I know what the word spy means to you. It means a sneak, a dishonest man, a mercenary, a person who doesn't play fair. And yet, this is one of the times when such an unsportsmanlike person becomes a necessity. General Washington has asked me to find a volunteer for a dirty job. A volunteer who is willing to take off his uniform and sneak behind the enemy lines and lie his way into procuring information for us. Is there a volunteer? I'll give you time to think it over.
He won't get anyone, and he knows it.
Why not?
Because a spy's a dirty person.
Spy's a necessary person.
You don't see anybody volunteering, do you?
Well, somebody ought to.
Well, I won't, and you won't.
I hope I won't have to.
Well, what do you mean?
Well, if nobody else does, somebody has to. The job has to be done.
Well, men, apparently none of you want to volunteer. I'm not surprised. I didn't expect you to, and I don't blame you.
Colonel Hilton.
Yes, Captain Hale.
I'll do it, sir.
Well?
Excuse me, I've lost my way.
Who are you?
Well, I'm just a schoolmaster, but I'm anxious to know, is this British-held territory or rebel territory?
This is British territory.
Good.
Yep, this is British territory. You're safe here. Richard Ney will be back in just a moment with the second act of tonight's drama, presented by Hallmark greeting cards from the pages of the Reader's Digest, America's favorite magazine. Now, here's Tom Shirley.
Mr. Bluebird, that lovable little fellow from Walt Disney's movie, Song of the South, is now on the new Hallmark Mr. Bluebird cards. Folks just naturally think of happiness when they see a bluebird. That's why Hallmark Mr. Bluebird cards will bring an extra bit of happiness to your friends and loved ones. You see, when you take the traditional happiness appeal of bluebirds, add the magic of Walt Disney's artistry, and then top it off with a Hallmark sentiment that says just what you want to say, the way you want to say it, you have the happiest kind of greetings. Is there someone you should remember today? Whoever it is, wherever they are, send Hallmark Mr. Bluebird cards. The happiest kind of greetings for every occasion. You'll find Hallmark Mr. Bluebird cards in America's finest shops and stores. And remember, when you send Hallmark cards, you send the finest, because for more than a third of a century, quality has been a habit with the makers of Hallmark cards. That's why discriminating folks look on the back of the cards they send and receive for the three identifying words, a Hallmark card. Those three words, a Hallmark card, are your assurance of finest quality. They tell your friends you cared enough to send the very best.
I knew Nathan Hale. didn't call himself Nathan Hale when I knew him. He pretended to be Nathan Westervelt, a Dutch schoolmaster, disgusted with the rebel cause and a friend to us British. He was a gay fellow, engaging with a good sense of humor. And we British officers brought him all over Long Island with us, even inside our fortifications. I suppose that's when he made all those drawings, because we didn't know about those at that time. In fact, sometimes I wonder just how little we did know about this man. I said as much to him one day.
I beg your pardon, Trent.
But didn't you hear me, Nathan?
No.
But I said I didn't know anything about your personal history, where you came from, and that sort of thing.
Oh, I see.
And I've noticed you never do hear anyone who asks that sort of question.
Oh, well, I haven't had a happy life.
Oh, does it pain you even to tell where you came from?
Oh, no. I came from New York.
You're a positive fountain of information.
Well, I wasn't happy in New York. People didn't like me because I was pro-British.
Oh, yes, of course I see.
No, you don't see. You can't know what it's like to be with people you don't agree with all the time. To have to laugh with them and pretend to agree with them. To have to answer searching questions. To be afraid always that they'll lay their hands on you, hurt you.
I say, it must be awful.
It is, believe me.
Never thought of it before.
I don't suppose you did. But you yourself are probably causing some poor devil to feel that way.
Well, what do you mean?
Well, I mean, there must be somebody on this side of the battle lines who's sympathetic with the rebels.
Oh, yes, there are altogether too many who are that way.
Yes, but I imagine you know who they are.
Most of them. There are some we only suspect.
You must give them a bad time of it.
Well, we try our best to. Yes, we keep a close watch on them, believe me.
I suppose there are some of them in every village on Long Island.
Of course.
I suppose there are some of them near here.
Yes, matter of fact, there's one farmer on the turnpike who's always pretending to have some business near our fortifications.
Oh? Well, this farmer, what's his name?
Bolton.
Oh, Bolton, yes. Well, what would you do with him if you could prove anything on him?
Oh, kill him?
Fine.
But I say, Nathan, I shouldn't have told you his name, you know. It was just a slip of the tongue.
Oh, I won't tell on you.
Well, please don't.
And the fact is, I couldn't remember the fellow's name even now. I've forgotten it completely.
Yes?
You're Bolton?
Yes.
Could I come in? I'm Nathan Westervelt.
Come in.
Thanks.
Here, sit down.
Thank you. I've seen you in town, Mr. Bolton.
I've seen you, too, with the British officers.
Yes, I've heard the British officers discussing you, Mr. Bolton.
Have you?
Yes. They suspect you of disloyalty to England.
Do they? That's too bad. I wonder where they got such an idea.
Well, must have been from something you said or did.
No, it couldn't have been.
Then you're not disloyal to England?
Why should I be? I've prospered under England, haven't I?
Pardon me, but your farm doesn't look very prosperous.
Oh. Well, that's just because the taxes have been so heavy.
Well, England imposed those taxes.
Oh, yes, but they were necessary. The English have explained that they were necessary.
Still, some people resent them.
Look here, I've heard enough. You've come in here to try to get me to say something disloyal. Why? How much do your British officer friends pay you per head for the colonists you deliver to them?
I don't deliver colonists to the British.
You won't deliver this colonist anyway. You have any business with me, state it. If you haven't, get out.
I have business with you, Mr. Bolton. My name is Nathan Hale.
You said Westervelt before.
Behind the British lines, I'm known as Westervelt. In the rebel army, I'm Captain Hale.
Mm-hmm. And behind the British lines, I'm Bolton, but in the rebel army, I'm General Washington.
You're a hard man to convince. I guess I'll have to take off my shoes.
I think that's imposing on my hospitality a bit too much.
Well, I'm going to do it anyway. Here. Look in that shoe. Go ahead. You'll find the inside of the sole comes right out. That's it. Underneath. That's right. Look at those papers.
These are drawings of the British fortifications.
Exactly. There are some figures there, too. Number of British troops, number of small cannon, number of tons of ammunition. Now, do you still think I'm trying to turn you over to the British?
Doesn't look like it.
No.
What do you want of me?
I want a boat. Got to get across Long Island Sound to the rebel line.
To deliver this information?
To deliver that information.
I'll get a boat for you.
When?
Come to the Widow Chester's Tavern tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. I'll be drinking ale at the bar. You stand next to me. Pretend you don't know me. I'll tell you where and when then.
All right.
Now get out. We can't afford to be connected.
I'll get out. But first, give me back my shoes. I always walk with my shoes on lately.
What's yours, stranger?
I'd like a bottle of ale, please.
1 bottle of ale.
Well?
Don't look at me. Do you know Froggy?
Froggy? No.
When you came in, he took one look at you and left the tavern.
I don't know him. Have they got the boat?
Bartender.
Here's your ale, stranger.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you, stranger.
Well?
Tonight, 11:30, Point of Pines, just beyond the bay. I'll deliver the boat to you.
Point of Pines, 11:30.
Hey, bartender, here's your money.
Bolton, is that... Over here, Bolton. Over here.
Put up your hands, Nathan.
Trent.
Yes, Trent, not Bolton. We took the boat over from Bolton. Froggy.
Yes, sir.
Is this the man?
Aye, that's him. That's Nathan Hale. I used to see him in New London when I was a peddler. Aye, that's Nathan Hale. I'd know him anywhere.
Trent, this man is lying.
I don't think so, Nathan. Come along. You're under military arrest.
Hi, you, Nathan Hale. I'm William Cunningham, British Provost Marshal. It may be that you know my name. If you do, it's because of a man I killed one morning when the light was streaking in the sky to eastward. I carried out my orders and killed that man. And so my name is known. I wish my name could be forgotten. This is the tree.
Yes.
Have your last wish?
Well, I asked for a Bible.
And I denied the request. I cannot scamper all over Long Island for a Bible for a filthy rebel spy.
Then I have no other last wish.
Then get up on this barrel. Walk up the plank.
Yes.
Hangman. Ready, sir. Very well, Hale. Have you any last word to say before we perform this execution?
I only regret that I have but one life to lose for my country.
matinee for a compelling performance of an inspiring story. It comes at an appropriate time because this week is Army Week, the time to think of your Army, dedicated to keeping America strong. Fine opportunities in aviation, rocket propulsion, and other scientific specialties are attracting intelligent young men to the regular Army. They know that a strong America is a peaceful America.
Mr. Bluebird, that lovable little fellow from the latest Walt Disney movie, Song of the South, is now on the new Hallmark Mr. Bluebird cards. Yes, Mr. Bluebird is the talk of the town, and he's flying into the hearts of everyone on the wings of that gay new hit tune, Zippity-Doo-Dah. So if you want to send an extra bit of happiness, send the new Hallmark Mr. Bluebird card. Send them for birthdays, anniversaries, to cheer a sick friend, or just to say hello. Be sure to ask your Hallmark dealer for Mr. Bluebird cards, and you can be doubly sure of sending the happiest kind of greetings.
You are cordially invited to be with us again next week at this time for another fine dramatic program brought to you by the makers of Hallmark greeting cards. If you enjoyed tonight's show, won't you please tell your friends about it, and ask them also to tune in for next week's program sponsored by Hallmark greeting cards? At that time, you will hear a true and thrilling behind-the-scenes account of danger, action, and sabotage. Our star will be that sensitive performer of Hollywood and Broadway, Paul Lucas.
Next be seen starring in the Universal International picture Ivy. Mr. Ney was supported by Vicky Vola in the role of Alicia. Portrait of an American was dramatized by Robert Senadella from Nancy Hale's story of that title, appearing in the Reader's Digest, America's favorite magazine. The Hallmark program was directed by Mark Sloan, with music especially composed by Jack Miller. To be doubly sure of the finest quality, always look on the back of your cards for those three identifying words, a Hallmark card. This is Harry Marble speaking for the makers of Hallmark greeting cards and for your friendly Hallmark dealer. You'll find a wide selection of Hallmark cards at America's finest shops and stores. Remember, a Hallmark card will best express your perfect taste, your thoughtfulness. Broadcasting System.
If you want to relieve headache, neuritis, or neuralgia pains quickly, try Anacin. The relief it brings is incredibly fast. Here's why. Anacin is made like a doctor's prescription, contains not just one, but a combination of medically active and proved ingredients. Get Anacin from your druggist in easy-to-take tablet form. Keep it handy. And then next time you have a headache pain or suffer pain of neuritis or neuralgia, take Anacin tablets. For most effective relief, use only as directed. Anacin, A-N-A-C-I-N.
Stay tuned to HOJO Radio.
Palmolive Soap, your beauty hope, and Luster Cream Shampoo for soft, glamorous dream girl hair bring you Our Miss Brooks, starring Eve Arden. Our Miss Brooks teaches English at Madison High, but one of her favorite subjects at school is biology. Or to be completely honest about it, biology teacher Philip Boynton. He's tall, dark, handsome, and painfully timid. But Connie Brooks is still hopeful. In her own words,
I'm still hopeful that he'll look up from his experiments one day and decide that I compare favorably with some of his higher-type frogs. Somehow I feel that if I could just be alone with him a few hours, he wouldn't mind my not being wart green. It looked like last Saturday was going to be the day. I was thinking about my plans when my landlady, Mrs. Margaret Davis, obeyed my instructions to wake me at 8:30.
Connie, wake up, Connie. It's 8:30.
Oh, come in, Mrs. Davis.
Good morning, Connie. How did you sleep?
Pretty well, Mrs. Davis. How about you?
Well, I wasn't going to mention it, but now that you ask, my insomnia's got me a little worried. You see, for the past 3 nights, I've gone to bed at 9:30 and slept right through the night.
Well, what's wrong with that?
I missed the sleeping pill I'm supposed to take at 10. But I guess I'll be all right.
Tell me, Connie, why did you leave me a note to wake you? What happened to your alarm clock?
Oh, it met with an accident yesterday morning.
What kind of an accident?
I threw it in the bathtub and stamped on it. Thanks for getting me up, though. I've got to be down at Carney's repair shop at 10. That's when they promised my car would be ready.
Oh, goodness, it's about time. How long has your car been in that repair shop, Connie?
Off and on, about 12 weeks.
How long have you had your car?
Off and on, about 12 weeks. I hope it holds together today. I'm driving Mr. Boynton to the football game with Clay City High.
Madison didn't play them last year, did it?
No, this is the first time. They say Clay City's an awfully nice little town. It's about 60 miles from here, I understand.
55 as the crow flies. You ought to make it in a couple of hours, easy.
Well, I'd better allow 3. My car makes about the same time a crow does on the ground.
Well, hurry and get dressed, Connie. I've got a surprise recipe for your breakfast.
I hope it's not as surprising as the last one, Mrs. Davis. Blubber burgers fried in deep seal fat. I'm afraid I haven't time for breakfast today. I'll just have a glass of milk.
Well, don't you even want to know what the surprise consists of?
Oh, no, thank you.
Well, I'll save it for you till tomorrow. It'll keep fine, although a little penicillin may form on the mold.
Probably do it a world of good. Well, I have to be running along now, Mrs. Davis. I've got to get my car, pick up Mr. Boynton, and then it's off to Clay City. Just think, we'll be alone together for 55 whole miles.
Oh, wonderful, Connie. I hope Madison runs up a big score.
Me too, but I'm more concerned about scoring with Mr. Boynton. Joe Carney.
I'll be with you in a minute, Miss Brooks. I just want to finish this fender here.
That finished it. Is my car ready, Joe?
Your car?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. What did you bring it in for last?
One of the headlights needed a new bulb.
Oh, yes. Step into the office here a minute, will you? I'll get the sheet on that car. Have a seat, Miss Brooks.
Thank you.
Should be right here in the desk. Was that a Nash, Miss Brooks? 1935 convertible?
Yes, a late 35. Though it wasn't a convertible until I tried to go through a railroad crossing with the bars down.
Oh, yes, here we are. You say one of the headlights needed a new bulb?
That's what you told me.
Funny, our mechanic found quite a bit of other work to do on the car.
What other work?
Well, your spark plugs were shot, so he replaced them, and the points were practically gone.
Where to?
Your valves needed grinding, and the wheels were way out of line. Of course, that could have been caused by the warped axle. Practically no ball bearing action left in the sprockets at all. And your transmission and differential had to be thoroughly revamped.
How did I get the car down here? On my back?
The steering knuckle was way off, so he had to pack that. But that wasn't too much trouble.
I'm glad.
He was down there ripping off the old brake lining anyway. The new voltage regulator we put in should help that shorten the wiring considerably, and a new oil filter will keep your motor cleaner.
Now, just a minute, Joe. You didn't say a word to me about any of those things when I left the car here.
Well, of course not, Miss Brooks. I had no way of knowing about them until our mechanic checked the car thoroughly. Any more than I could have told you about the clutch lining.
What about the clutch lining?
Let's not speak ill of the dead. It was shredded. And that probably affected the rear end situation.
Rear end?
It was really dragging. Now, do you want me to total up your bill with the new radiator that's coming, or just charge you for the soldering job temporarily?
Like I say, Joe, what do I owe you for the light bulb?
Oh, we'll just throw that in. And please don't feel that we invented any of these difficulties, Miss Brooks. Every item on your bill was strictly legitimate. May I never smear grease on my hands and charge for a lube job if it wasn't.
I've got a good mind to get the Falcon after you. What's the total?
Well, let me see. $14.50 plus $7.98. 46 for parts. 18 for the transport. $9 for the distributor of the crown. Well, it's $112.49, Miss Brooks. Call it $113 even.
We'll call it $112 even, and I'll have to pay you off by the week, Joe.
Oh, that's perfectly all right. Say $10 a week, 20 weeks.
20 weeks? That would be $200.
Carrying charges, Miss Brooks. Plus lawyer's fees.
Lawyer's fees?
Well, sure, you're a school teacher, aren't you?
Yes.
Well, you couldn't keep paying $10 a week out of your salary. A lawsuit's inevitable.
Well, Well, if I can't make the payments, I'll sell you the car.
Are you kidding? With the repair work this heap needs, I wouldn't give you $100 for it.
Look, I've got to have the car today, Joe. I'm driving Mr. Boynton to Clay City to see our football team play. Now, what would it cost me if you put back the shredded clutch lining and the gone points?
Well, never mind. Never mind that, Miss Brooks. How much cash have you got on you?
Well, I got paid yesterday and just took care of my rent and a few small bills, so I've still got about $19.
We'll take it. I believe in one price. You say $19, I say $19. Hand it over.
Here you are, and Mother will be happy to know you let me keep my locket. On to Mr. Boynton.
Our Miss Brooks, starring Eve Arden, will continue in just a moment. But first, here is Vern Smith with an important announcement. Palmolive Soap is giving away prizes worth $67,000. A grand prize of $25,000 in one lump sum, or $100 a month for life. And that's not all. There are over 2,000 prizes in Palmolive's big treasure chest contest. Ford sedans, Westinghouse laundromats, Fromm Silver Fox scarves, Toastmaster toasters. And it's easy to enter. Complete the last line of this jingle.
A fresher, brighter-looking skin is something I would like to win. I'll get Palmolive Soap today. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Write your last line on a plain sheet of paper or use an official entry blank giving complete rules obtainable at your dealers. Include your own and dealer's name and address. And mail with the big word Palmolive from the front of the wrapper of one regular and one bath-size cake of Palmolive Soap to Palmolive, Box 92, New York 8, New York. Now, here's the jingle once more.
A fresher, brighter-looking skin is something I would like to win. I'll get Palmolive Soap today. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Mail your entry to Palmolive, Box 92, New York 8, New York. But hurry, contest closes soon. Get Palmolive Soap for a lovelier complexion. Remember, doctors prove Palmolive's beauty results.
Well, I finally got to Mr. Boynton's apartment house to take him to the football game. He was standing in front of the door holding a big box with a cellophane top, the kind you put an orchid corsage into. I said, Mr. Boynton, you shouldn't have bought me flowers. His answer was typical of the man. With a modest smile, he hung his head, blushed, and said,
I didn't.
Oh, well then what's in that box?
MacDougal.
He's a wee one, isn't he?
MacDougal's a bullfrog, Miss Brooks. I took him home from the laboratory yesterday. I don't like the sound of his voice. It's kind of raspy.
Maybe he's got a man in his throat. Are you taking him with us to the football game?
Oh, I'm afraid I'll have to. You see, his neck's pretty sore, and I put a compress on it. Wouldn't want him to scratch it off. He should have had his tonsils out long ago.
Maybe his folks couldn't afford it. Well, get in, Mr. Boynton, and put MacDougal in the back.
Oh, I'd rather not, Miss Brooks. Let's keep him up here in front, between us.
Goody. I've always wanted to go to a football game with a bullfrog. Well, are you all set, Mr. Boynton?
All set, Miss Brooks.
Then we're off to Clay City. It's a beautiful day for football, isn't it?
Oh, yes, it is.
Do you like football, Mr. Boynton?
Well, frankly, Miss Brooks, I haven't seen many games.
Oh, that's a shame. We teachers should set an example in school spirit for the student body. That's why I'm going today. That's one reason, anyway.
I beg your pardon?
I said I think we should show more interest in school events.
Oh, I agree, Miss Brooks. Who's pitching for us today?
Well, we tried to get Satchel Paige, but he's tied up. Of course, we have some good backfield men pitching passes. That's what you meant, isn't it?
Oh, I guess so. I'm afraid you'll have to explain quite a bit of the rules, Miss Brooks.
Oh, you'll get on to it, Mr. Boynton. Meanwhile, we've got 55 miles to travel together. Just you and I. I was hoping you'd feel that way about it.
That was MacDougal. Now, quiet, Mac. I want you to rest your throat.
Yes, do that, Mac. Now, where was I?
You were saying we've got 55 miles to drive together.
That's right. Just the three of us. A man, a girl, a bullfrog. Oh, well, we'll have fun anyway. I know a wonderful little restaurant en route where we can stop for lunch. It's called the Blue Goose Cafe.
Oh,
Fine. Look, Miss Brooks, isn't that one of our students pushing that car across the street?
Oh, yes, that's Walter Denton. Maybe we can give him a hand. Hello, Walter.
Oh, hello, Miss Brooks. How do, Mr. Boynton?
Oh, hello, Walter. Something go wrong with your car?
Oh, nothing unusual. It just won't go. I think my clutch lining is gone.
Oh, well, take a little of mine, Walter. I've got a new batch.
Gee, of all times to fizzle out on me. I had my heart set on going to the Clay City football game today.
Well, why don't you come along with us? What do you say, Miss Brooks?
With us? Well, I'm sure Walter would rather get there under his own power. Maybe we ought to try and get his car started.
Oh, it's no use, Miss Brooks. It won't go. I know this car like the back of my hand.
And the back of me hand to you. Well, it isn't that you're not welcome to come with us, Walter. I know. Why don't we tow you in your car?
Tow me?
Well, I don't understand the point of that, Miss Brooks.
You wouldn't.
I haven't got any tow rope anyway, Miss Brooks.
Well, maybe we could push you in your car. You know, bumper to bumper and shove. Then when we got to a nice downgrade, whee! That's our Walter.
Oh, you're kidding me, Miss Brooks.
Yeah.
I'll sit in the back here. You and Mr. Boynton won't even know we're in the car.
All right, Walter, hop in. I wouldn't want you to miss the game. Well, here goes, off to Clay. Did you say we're in the car?
Sure, I've got a date with Harriet Conklin. She's a real football bug.
Bug?
Don't get excited, Mac. It's just an expression.
She'll be waiting in front of her house, Miss Brooks. It's just a mile or two out of your way.
Naturally. But we'd better hurry if we want to have some lunch before the game. Hang on.
Turn right at this corner, Miss Brooks.
You better slow down for it. Look out for that milk wagon.
Boy, that was close.
Oh, are you still in the car, Walter? I mean, I hope I didn't unnerve you.
Oh, that's all right, Miss Brooks. I'm used to driving with woman drivers. My mother's one, you know.
One what, Walter?
It's only natural for drivers to make mistakes. But my mom has made some whoppers.
That I can see.
Look, isn't that Harriet standing under that tree?
Oh, yeah, that's her. Pull over to the curb, Miss Brooks.
Yes, sir. Shall I hold the meter?
Hiya, Harriet. My car's all tattered and torn, so Miss Brooks is taking us to the game.
Well, bless your little pointed head. Hello, Miss Brooks.
Hello, Harriet.
How are you, Harriet?
Mr. Boynton. How nice to have you along.
Get that leer out of your voice, Harriet. Mr. Boynton's been spoken for. In fact, he's been spoken and croaked for.
What in the world was that sound?
Oh, this is MacDougal, Harriet, one of my favorite frogs.
You can introduce them formally when we're rolling again. Hop in. Not you, Mac.
We'll get in back. After you, m'lady.
Thank you, m'man.
All set? Well, we're off for Clay City.
Oh, don't start yet, Miss Brooks. Daddy's coming down off the porch. Hi, Daddy.
Hello, everyone. Oh, hello, Mr. Conklin.
Bye, Mr. Conklin. That is, how do you do, sir? How's Madison's favorite principal today? Hmm?
At ease. I was just reading about the game with Clay City High. Should be quite a contest.
Oh, yes, sir. That's where we're going today.
At least we're starting today.
Denton, must you sit so close to my daughter?
I'm not sitting close to her, Mr. Conklin. She's sitting close to me. I'm over as far as I can get.
I've got to pin him down, Father. Walter's the elusive type. Of course, he's not a real happy heartache, but he's good for a minor throb or two.
Cut it out, Harriet.
Oh, stop those nonsensical noises. Now, there's quite a bit of work I could do this afternoon, filing reports to the Board of Education and so forth.
You have a nice day for it, Mr. Conklin. Well, we'd be getting along now.
But I got to thinking. Conklin, I said to myself, or rather, Mr. Conklin, I said, you haven't seen a football game in a month of Sundays. Let's take in this Clay City game.
Then you mean you're going along with us? That's just super, Daddy. Isn't it, Walter?
Yeah, super.
Well, it'll be a pleasure to have you along, Mr. Conklin.
Oh, thank you, Boynton. But what about you, Miss Brooks? It's your car. How do you feel about my coming along?
Just ginger peachy, Mr. Conklin. Well, let's get started if we're going. It's getting kind of late, and we want to stop
I won't be any time at all. I'll go back to the house and ask Mrs. Conklin to speed things up.
Mrs. Conklin?
Yes, she's been out in the yard all morning planting, and she's quite dirty. I'll tell her to hurry with the bath and not fuss much with dressing.
Well, tell her to slip on anything, Mr. Conklin. A loose rug will do.
Well, here we are.
Sorry to keep you waiting. Hello, Miss Brooks, Mr. Boynton.
Hello, Mrs. Conklin.
How are you, ma'am?
Walter's here, too. Hello, Walter.
Hi, Mrs. Conklin. Where do you want to sit?
Well, I think that you two should be separated. So, Martha, if you just sit between Walter and Harriet, I'll sit up front between Miss Brooks and Mr. Boynton.
Fine. Now, if we can only get somebody to sit between McDougal.
I'd better hold him on my lap. There we go, Mac.
Pity he doesn't drive. We could change places. Everybody ready?
We're all set, Miss Brooks. Do you know the road?
Well, not offhand, Mr. Conklin, but I've got some maps in my glove compartment.
Well, I'd better get them out then, Miss Brooks. Could be a very simple matter getting to Clay City. Let's see here. Route 68 into 44, then west. No, it's east, I guess it is, on 106. Well, what are you waiting for, Miss Brooks?
For the directions, Mr. Conklin.
Oh, I'll give you those as we go along. Just start her up.
Well, we're on our way, Harriet.
Oh, isn't it fun, Walter? Please, children, you're squeezing me.
It should happen to both of us.
Miss Brooks, do you mind turning your radio on? I understand there's going to be a new clue on Sing It Again.
All right, Harriet.
Gee, the prizes are up to $26,000.
And here, folks, is your new Sing It Again clue. The phantom voice is no Ziegfeld girl, but a Ziegfeld guy gave her a whirl.
Thank you. The $26,000 will come in handy.
Who do you think the phantom voice is, Miss Brooks?
Well, if I knew the answer to that, Harriet, I'd be able to walk right up to your father and say...
Yes, Miss Brooks?
Hello, Mr. Conklin. We've been going quite a while on Route 68. Shouldn't we have switched over to 44 by now?
Are you questioning my directions, Miss Brooks?
Well, no, Mr. Conklin, but...
I was a major in the last war, you know. And as such, spent considerable time in command of a transport group at Camp Bobrick, Ohio. I'm sure we're on the right road. And the caissons go rolling along.
Oh, you have quite a voice, Mr. Conklin.
Oh, thank you, Boynton. I did a bit of singing round the barracks now and then. Yum tum 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 tum.
Oh, that's very cute, Mr. Conklin. Oh, that was Mac, wasn't it? He must be hungry, Mr. Boynton. I know I am. Shall we stop for some lunch at the Blue Goose?
Well, where's the Blue Goose, Miss Brooks?
Well, I haven't been there since I was a girl, but...
Gosh, Miss Brooks, do you think it's still standing?
Now, just a minute, Walter. How old do you think I am, anyway?
Oh, I'd say you're about...
Of course it's still standing.
There's only one place to go if you want a delicious luncheon. That's the Pink Flamingo.
Oh, where's that, Osgood? You never mentioned it in front of me before.
Well, the last time I went there, I was with a bunch of the boys. Are you sure you can find this Blue Goose, Miss Brooks?
Yes, I think so, Mr. Conklin. Let's see, where are we now?
Well, there's a signboard over there, Route 118. Funny, that isn't on this map at all. You'd better bear left at this fork, Miss Brooks.
Very well, Mr. Conklin, but I don't think we're on the right road. This hill ahead of us is pretty steep. I hope the motor doesn't heat up too much. This radiator's just been patched temporarily.
Well, up we go. Over hill, over down, and the caissons go.
What was that?
The caisson stopped rolling. At least this one did.
Oh, I'll get out and look at the motor.
Keep your seat, Mr. Boynton. As head of a transport battalion, I had considerable to do with motors during my tour of duty. Let's see. Nothing wrong with the tappets. Radiator's still in one piece. Hand me a hammer, somebody.
There are some tools under this seat, I think.
Oh, here, let's get out. Here we are. Here's a hammer, Mr. Conklin.
Oh, thank you. Now we'll just tap this water pipe here.
Oh, be careful, Mr. Conklin.
Please, Miss Brooks. I know motors backwards. One more good tap should do it.
That did it, all right. Well, let's get out and push, folks. We're off to the nearest garage.
Well, there you are, folks. There you are. Good as new. Nothing would have happened in the first place if some knucklehead hadn't hit the pipes with a hammer.
What? Why, how dare... Why, who do you think... Why, I'll have you know...
Who's this huffing and puffing?
Oh, please. This is Mr. Knucklehead. I mean, Mr. Conklin. He's my principal. Oh, now calm down, Mr. Conklin. Remember, everything's all right now. We're off to Clay City.
Where do you figure we are now, Miss Brooks?
Well, I think
according to my calculations, we've been traveling due east on Route 94 for 1 hour and 10 minutes at an approximate mean speed of 40 miles per hour.
Any tailwind, Mr. Conklin?
Oh, look, we're coming into a town.
Of course we're coming to a town. It's just as I figured. This is it. Miss Brooks, ask that pedestrian where the stadium is.
What pedestrian?
Hey, look where you're driving!
Oh, that pedestrian. Pardon me. Could you tell us where the Clay City Stadium is?
Well, I can't be positive, but my guess would be Clay City.
Isn't this Clay City?
No, this is Boonville. If you'd be kind enough to give me a lift home, though, I could show you where Clay City is. I live just a few miles from there in Flagton.
Well, there really isn't much room. We've got 3 in front and 3 in back now.
Well, it's not much of a ride from here. Perhaps I could sit on this gentleman's lap.
What? Sit on my lap?
Oh, better take him, dear. We've only got a short time if we want to see the kickoff.
Oh, very well. Come on.
I hope I'm not too heavy. Sorry, I'll change my position.
Start the car, Miss Brooks.
All right, Mr. Conklin. And this time we're really off to Clay City.
Yeah, thanks a lot for the lift.
You're welcome. Now, how do we get to Clay City from here?
Oh, that's 29 miles back down the road. We passed through it on the way.
What? Why, you...
Yes, so long.
29 miles back? Why, that... We could have been... He said that it was only...
Daddy, remember your blood pressure.
His ears get awful red, don't they?
Now, see here, everybody. We've got to organize this expedition. There's been no unity of command, that's the trouble. Everybody's talking at once. Oh. Shut that toad up, Boynton.
He's not a toad, Mr. Conklin. McDougal's a frog.
A giant bullfrog with tonsils.
Quiet, Miss Brooks. Now turn this car around and go that way, and don't stop going that way until I tell you to.
Off to Clay City.
Well, this is Clay City, all right. There's the Clay City National Bank, Clay City Lumberyard. Now, for heaven's sake, Miss Brooks, before you get lost again, ask somebody where the stadium is.
All right, Mr. Conklin. Oh, there's a bus parked over there. I'll ask the driver. Excuse me, but could you tell me where the Clay City Stadium is?
Sure, it's 4 blocks left and 3 right.
Oh, thanks a lot. That's the first definite answer I've had all day.
Well, I ought to know where the stadium is. I got the Clay City team in this bus. We just beat Madison High 89-0.
89-0? May I ask you one more question?
Sure, what is it?
Did they put up a good fight?
Eve Arden as our Miss Brooks returns in just a moment. But first,
dream girl, beautiful luster cream girl.
Tonight, show him how much lovelier your hair can look after a Luster Cream shampoo. Only Luster Cream brings you Kay Dumont's magic formula blend of secret ingredients plus gentle lanolin. Gives loveliness lather even in hardest water. Glamorizes your hair as you wash it. Luster Cream, not a soap, not a liquid, but a dainty cream shampoo, leaves hair fragrantly clean, free of loose dandruff, glistening with sheen, soft, manageable, gives new beauty to all hairdos or permanents. 4-ounce jar, $1. Smaller sizes, either tubes or jars. Tonight, try Luster Cream shampoo and be a
dream girl, beautiful beautiful luster cream girl, you owe your crowning glory to a luster cream shampoo.
And now, once again, here is our Miss Brooks.
Well, the trip back from Clay City was uneventful. I dropped Walter and the Conklins at their house instead of on their heads. And though I missed the football game, the rest of my plans worked out pretty well. Mr. Boynton asked me to dinner, and without Mr. Conklin in the car, we had no trouble finding the Blue Goose Cafe. Dinner was delightful. The orchestra was playing softly, and Mr. Boynton turned to me and said,
That's my favorite tune, Miss Brooks. Would you care to dance?
Sorry, Mr. Boynton, but I promised this one to Mac.
Next week, tune into another Our Miss Brooks show brought to you by Palmolive Soap, Your Beauty Hope, and Luster Cream Shampoo for soft, glamorous dream girl hair.
Our Miss Brooks, starring Eve Arden, is produced by Larry Burns, written and directed by Al Lewis, with music by Wilbur Hatch.
Dentists know what cleans teeth best, and over 4,000 dentists say Colgate Tooth Powder with a 2-minute routine gets teeth sparkling and super clean. So to remove dull film and get your teeth shining clean, just brush teeth 2 minutes morning and night with Colgate Tooth Powder. Brush inside, outside, and biting surfaces. Always brush away from the gums. See how quickly this gets teeth naturally bright. It removes dull film that improper brushing misses. And Colgate Tooth Powder also sweetens your breath. Try it. Buy Colgate Tooth Powder today.
For mystery liberally sprinkled with laughs, listen to Mr. and Mrs. North, the exciting, fun-packed adventures of an amateur Park Avenue detective and his beautiful wife. Tune in Tuesday evenings over most of these same stations. And be with us again next week at the same time for another comedy episode of Our Miss Brooks. Bob Lamont speaking. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
I'd like to say a few words about health. Over 50% of all family colds can be traced to uneven heat or overheating in the home. So protect your family's health by burning blue coal, America's finest anthracite. Then you will be sure of steady, lasting, healthful heat at less cost. The next time you order fuel, ask for blue coal by name. You don't have to get a full supply. Your nearest blue coal dealer will be glad to send you a trial ton. Phone him tomorrow.
HOJO Radio, where the classics come alive.
The Johnson Wax Program with Fibber McGee and Molly. The makers of Johnson's Wax and Johnson's Self-Polishing Glow Coat present Fibber McGee and Molly, written by Don Quinn with music by the King's Men and Billy Mills Orchestra. The show opens with I Struck a Match on the Moon. Ladies, what's the most popular room in your house? Most people say the living room with the easy chair pulled up alongside the radio. But personally, I want to put my vote down for the kitchen. I spend more time in people's kitchens and in my own than anywhere else. I suppose the icebox has something to do with it. But whatever it is, the kitchen is a cozy room and deserves to be a cheerful one. And you can make it cheerful, too, without spending much money. Gay curtains at the window, fresh oilcloth, and Johnson's Self-Polishing Glow Coat on the floor. Glow Coat not only gives linoleum floors sparkling beauty and keeps the colors as bright as new, but it protects them against wear, makes them last longer. And it does all this in addition to saving you hours of work, because Glow Coat needs no rubbing or buffing. Just apply and let dry. Glow Coat does the rest. May I suggest that you add Johnson's Self-Polishing Glow Coat to your next shopping list?
Well, a man can fool some of the people all the time, and all the people some of the time, and his wife almost none of the time. So when our hero seems unusually gay and light-hearted, laughing at anything, his better half suspects the worst. In other words, when a guy doesn't grouse, his spouse smells a mouth. And that's the way it is tonight with Fibber McGee and Molly.
So when I seen Egghead Vanderveen there in front of Joe's Tavern, I walked up to him. Hi, Egghead, I said. What's cooking? And he says, I am. He says, they just give me the hot foot. After that just about tore me asunder because Egghead is the kind of...
McGee!
Huh?
What's the matter with you? You're as merry as a grig over nothing. What's on your mind?
On my mind? Why, nothing. But let me tell you about Egghead. So I said to Egghead...
I don't want to hear about Egghead. I want to know about you. You always act like this when you're covering up something. Look, did you mail that special delivery letter for me yesterday morning?
Special? Oh, that. Oh, don't give it a thought, Molly. But to get back to what I said to Egghead...
Did you mail that letter?
Why, Molly, am I the kind of a guy who, when you tell him to do something you want done, don't mail it?
Now, never mind that. I just asked you a simple question.
Did you ever ask me to do anything that I wasn't only too glad to cooperate into doing it? No, sir.
McGee, did you mail that letter?
No.
Well, the reason I wanted to know
Oh,
is...
but I'll do it right away. Wait till I get my coat. As soon as I can run across the street, I'll
But, McGee, now let me tell you...
No, I'll do it. I should have done it yesterday. Sorry I forgot, but you can consider the errand rectified.
Wait a minute, McGee. That letter now is...
I'll just ask across the street to the mailbox, Molly. I'll be right back.
McGee, wait a minute. I didn't... Oh, dear.
Sometimes I wonder why the government always puts the mailboxes on the corner where somebody else lives. If I'd have had my way... Oh, hi, Gildersleeve.
Hello, McGee. Hey, don't cross that pavement. Can't you see they've got...
Go bounce a meatball, you big ape. I know what I'm doing. Hey, what is this? French car?
Get out of there, McGee. They've just repurposed that pavement. You'll get stuck.
What do you mean, get stuck? I am stuck. Well, why didn't you warn me, you big dumbbell?
Don't I tried to, you little squirt. If you hadn't... there, Mrs. McGee.
Hello, Mr. Gildersleeve. McGee, come out of that mess this minute.
I can't pick up my feet. What is this, anyway, tar?
No, it's a new patent paving material they're trying out. You like it?
I love it. In fact, I'm stuck on it. Well, Dad, rather do something. Get me out of here.
Can't you pull your feet up, dearie?
Oh, wait. Let me try again. No, it's no use. The harder I try, the deeper I get in.
You see, Mrs. McGee? Confidentially, he sinks.
That's right at Gildersleeve if you don't...
Now, let's all keep calm and think this thing out. McGee, can you slip out of your shoes?
Yeah, but I ain't gonna. I just had them half soled.
Come on, dearie, don't stand there arguing. You're attracting a crowd. Take your shoes off and start running.
Okay, I'll take... Okay, here I come.
Well, come on.
Can't. I'm stuck again.
Oh, dear. Take off your socks and start over.
Okay, I'll try anything. Now. Well, what do I do now? Take off my feet?
Who shall I call, dearie? The street commissioner, the fire department, the police, or the gallop pole?
What do you mean, the gallop pole?
Well, you're the man on the street, all right. What do we do, Mr. Gildersleeve?
I don't know what you're going to do, Mrs. McGee, but I'm going home and get my movie camera. By George, I've never seen anything so funny in my life.
That's better you stay where you darn are, Gildersleeve. You big heel.
McGee, now, you mustn't call Mr. Gildersleeve a heel.
Well, maybe not. But I bet he could have a lot of fun sliding down a shoehorn. Hey, ain't anybody going to get me out of here?
Oh, now, don't get excited, McGee. We'll do everything we can.
Hello there, Dollar. Hello, Gildersleeve. Hi, Johnny. What you doing? What do you you think I'm doing, you old dodo? Tap dancing?
Tap dancing, eh? You never told me he could tap dance, daughter. Let's see you doing off to Buffalo, Johnny.
Oh, for goodness sake, stop teasing him. He's in a terrible predicament.
Hey, what's this all about, kid? What's he doing out there in the street, daughter?
He's stuck in that fresh pavement, Mr. Oldtimer. You know any way we can get him out?
Sure.
How?
Look, get a couple of shovels, see? Then go down to the basement of your house, dig a tunnel till you get right under him, then dig up till you reach him and pull him down through.
Oh, my goodness.
That's silly.
It ain't only silly, it's callous and cruel. Everybody making wisecracks while I stand here and suffer. Don't you realize this paving material is getting harder every minute? Call somebody. Do something.
But what'll we do?
How should I know? If you can't think of anything else, throw me a red and green lantern. I'll spend the rest of my life here as a traffic signal.
That's pretty good, Johnny. But that ain't the way I heard it. I heard it. One feller says to t'other feller, say, says. But hey, this ain't any time for jokes, is it? Poor little Johnny out there is stuck in the tar.
No, it certainly isn't.
Of course not.
Though, on the other hand, it might cheer him up. The way I heard it, one feller says to t'other feller, say, says, I see where Groucho Marx is going to be a professor of humor at Harvard. That's so, says t'other feller. Where's Harpo going? To Wellesley?
I guess you got something there, old timer. That Harpo is a great guy for blondes. Hey, what am I laughing at? Dad Rabbit, get me out of here. Do something, somebody. Don't just stand there. Help!
What's that guy doing out there in the street? Advertising something? Oh, they say he got stuck in that fresh pavement. Well, if he saw they were going to pave the street, why didn't he get out of the way? Yeah, they ought to put a rail around him and use him as a statue of a leading citizen.
Hey, Molly. Molly!
Yes, dearie, here I am. And here's a little footstool for you to sit on. Catch it.
Much obliged. Is somebody coming to get me out of this? Who'd you call?
Well, first Mr. Gildersleeve and I called the Commissioner of Streets. And he referred us to the Department of Health.
Department of Health?
Yeah, he said it wasn't healthy to stand there in the street night and day.
Well, what did the health department say?
Well, they referred us to the license commissioner because they said you were making an exhibition of yourself.
Yeah, and the license commissioner sent it to the Board of Education.
Dad Rabbit, what's the Board of Education got to do with it?
Well, they said they teach you to stay off freshly paved streets.
But I tell you, we finally got to the right people, dearie. This is a new type of paving, and they're sending the inventor of it out.
Oh, well, thank goodness, at last. Well,
Hey, what's in the mud? Can I have your autograph?
Why, certainly, Bud. Throw me your death certificate.
Oh, dear. Mr. Gildersleeve, if that man doesn't get here pretty soon, I don't know how... Oh, how do you do, Mrs. Uppington?
How do you do, my dear? And Mr. Gildersleeve?
Good day, Abigail.
Well, what on earth is the cause of this boisterous crowd, my dear?
It's McGee, Abigail. He's stuck out there in the middle of the street. You see him?
Well, really? How do... What did I mean, did he step on some chewing gum?
He just started trot across a freshly paved street, the silly asphalt runner.
Now, look here, Mr. Gildersleeve.
Oh, but Mrs. McGee, we simply can't have your husband making a spectacle of himself. He's lowering the tune of the whole neighborhood.
Ah, don't give me that Vaseline, dearie. Next thing you'll get so exclusive you'll want our fire department to have an unlisted phone number.
Well, really, Mr. McGee,
Now, wait a minute, girl. Hey, McGee. Here's Mrs. Uppington. He wants you to get out of there. Yeah. He says you're lowering real estate values.
Oh, I am, eh? Abigail, you mean to stand there wobbling on your wedgie and accuse me of doing this on purpose?
I really wouldn't know, Miss McGee, but if you're posing as a personal investigator of paving material, I have a suggestion to make.
Yeah, what's that?
Did you ever hear of a certain place which is said to be paved with good intentions?
You mean?
Yes, and when you get through here, go there. Good day.
Hey, Molly, where's the guy who invented this stuff? When's he ever coming?
Just as soon as they can get a hold of him, dearie.
Just wait till I get hold of him.
Hey, what is all this? Hey, come here a minute, Fibber.
Nah, you come here, Wilcox.
All right, I'll
No,
come
no,
right.
no, Mr. Wilcox. You'll get stuck, too.
Yeah, McGee is held tight in that new paving material, Harlow. Don't you set foot on it.
Ah, why didn't you let him come? He's always claimed he was the guy that would stick by his friends.
Say, you're in a tough spot, pal. Can't you pull yourself loose?
Who, me? Why, sure, Wilcox. I'm just standing here till the steamroller comes by. Then I'll lay down and get my pants pressed.
Well, I can really sympathize with you, Fibber. Standing in that car, you're typical of the stories I hear every day.
What do you mean, typical?
You're tired, aren't you?
Sure I'm tired.
Well, so is every housewife in the world. Tired of the everlasting scrubbing and cleaning and dusting. Tired of the dust and dirt and dampness. Tired of trying to keep house with old-fashioned, inefficient methods. That's why they all love Johnson's wax. Because it cuts housework to a minimum and keeps floors and furniture shining and beautiful and protects them against wear and dirt. Get some today. Johnson's wax for that hard feeling.
Wilcox!
What?
You're fired.
I am not. You didn't hire me and you can't fire me. And I can prove it.
How, Mr. Wilcox?
I'm going to send the sponsor a war.
He'd spend more time listening to Fibber McGee and Molly and less to Lum and Abner. Hey, when am I ever going to get out of here?
No, take it easy, little chum. Take it easy. We'll just have to wait till the paving expert gets here.
Don't you little chum me, you big chump. All you've done since I've been stuck here standing around and crack wise.
Is that so? Why, you ungrateful little grunion? You lippy little lizard. You wait till you get out of there, and I'll teach you a few manners.
Go on, you couldn't teach a worm to squirm. You big oaf.
Oop.
By the time I get loose from here, I'll be in just the mood to kick you right in the teeth. And I don't care if they ain't paid for you.
Now. For goodness sake, boy, stop it.
Well, I just dare him to come out here, that's all. I'll show him.
You can't fight here. And McGee,
Huh?
you owe Mr. Gildersleeve an apology. He's done everything he could to get the city officials to come out here and get you loose.
Yeah, and it's like most of his arrangements. Nothing happened.
Is that so?
Yes, that's so.
Why, you abbreviated anthropological aberration?
Who's an abbreviated anthropological abbreviation?
You are.
He is not.
I am too.
You are not.
Well, make up your mind. Now, stop this bickering, the both of you. Come on, Mr. Gildersleeve. Let's go call up the street commissioner again.
Well, all right. Now, don't worry, little chum. Hold tight. We'll be right back.
Okay, Rocky, and hurry back, Molly.
All right, dearie.
Come on, Joe. Let's beat it.
Yeah, he ain't gonna do nothing. No, he just stands there like a dope. Come on, Charlie.
Go on.
everybody leave. Somebody stay and talk to me. Hey! Dad, ratted luck. Why does everything have to happen to me? If I'd only mailed that letter of Molly's when I ought to have, this wouldn't have...
Hi, mister.
Oh, I'm sorry, sis. I ain't got time to talk to you now. I'm in a hurry.
Where are you going?
I'm going down to the... Say, what do you want, sis?
What you doing out there in the street, mister? What you doing? Who's watching?
I'm a scare sparrow. I says I'm a scare sparrow. That's the same as a scarecrow, only I don't scare crows. I scare sparrows.
Why?
Well, they make too much noise. They disturb the furnace stand.
What's a furnace stand?
Well, that's the kind of a thing that gets disturbed, the sparrow.
Oh. I bet you can't scare the Whitticums, I bet you.
What's a Whitticum?
It's a little girl who doesn't believe that furnace stand stuff.
Well, I'm glad you come along, sis. You cheer me up.
No, you cheer me up.
You cheer me up first.
All righty. Shall I tell you a story,
Sure. Tell me a story.
How about Cinderella?
Well, it ain't risque, is it?
What?
Never mind. Tell me about Cinderella. And take your time, sis. I ain't going anywhere for a while.
All righty. Once upon a time, there was a little girl named Cinderella, and she had a nasty old stepmother, and she went to a ball and lost her slipper, and the prince found it, and he married her, and they lived happily ever after. You want to hear another one? No, thanks. I was going to ask for the one about Peter Rabbit, but the way you boil them down, it'll turn out to be Hopkins. I can recite poems, too, I bet you.
You can? I said you can.
Can what?
Cherries, and be sure you get all the pits out of it.
You're silly, mister.
I guess I am at that, sis. I'll go ahead and recite something.
All righty. This is going to be a dandy one, I bet you. The boy stood on a burning desk, mending a pair of socks. It roused his ire when the thread caught fire. Hot darn.
If you don't mind, sis, I think that ought to conclude your benefits performance. You want to earn a nickel by running an errand for me?
No.
You don't?
No, I want to earn a dime.
You're taking advantage of my desperation, sis. I'm going to report you to the labor board. Okay, it's a dime. Now look.
All righty.
Run down to Kramer's drugstore and have him throw me an evening paper. Then run over to my house and tell Mrs. McGee I want a little table and a deck of cards so I can play solitaire. Oh, yes, and a portable radio.
All righty. Shall I tell her anything else?
Yes.
What?
I'm hungry.
Oh, sure.
The King's Men sing The Little Brown Jug.
My wife and I live all alone in a little log hut we call our own. We're so happy, warm and snug as long as we have our little brown jug. Ha ha ha, you and me, little brown jug, don't I love thee? Ha ha ha, you and me, little brown jug, don't I love thee? When I am a-toiling on my farm, I carry a little brown jug under my arm. Set me down in the shade of a tree and say, "You fly, don't bother me." Ha ha ha, you and me, little brown jug, don't I love thee? Ha ha ha, you and me, little brown jug, don't I love thee? Little brown jug goes to my head and makes my nose a rosy red. In the dark it shines so bright, I never get lost on the blackest night. Ha ha ha, you and me, little brown jug, don't I love thee? Just sweet to me and you, having a great big spree. Little brown jug, little brown jug, little brown jug, little brown jug. My wife and me are happy as a buzz. We get along fine with a little brown jug. I beat her, she beats me. We love each other tenderly. Oh, you and me, little brown jug, don't I love thee? In the winter time you warm my soul. Every time I tip you up, down it goes. you and me, little brown duck, don't I love thee? Ho, 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 you and me, little brown duck, don't I love thee? Ho, 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 can't you see? I love the little brown duck for me.
Have you had enough to eat now, McGee?
Not quite. Toss me one more cookie. Thanks.
How about coffee, McGee? You want some more?
No thanks, Gildersleeve. You can pull in the hose now.
Okay.
Hey, when is this guy going to get me out of here?
You mean the man who invented this paving material? He's due any minute now, dearie. Just be patient. Are you terribly tired?
I ain't as tired as I am disgusted. I'm disgusted and humiliated. My feet are getting numb. This stuff is getting hard. Hey, did you call the city hall again?
Yes, I did, dearie.
Who'd you get?
Mert.
What'd she have to say?
She said her cousin overturned his canoe yesterday.
Yeah, did he get drowned?
No, he just got tired of paddling and overturned it to his brother.
Overturned it to his brother. If that ain't the farthest fetched gag I ever heard. And me standing here helpless.
By George, here he comes, McGee. It won't be long now.
What? Who?
It's the inventor of this paving material, McGee. He'll know how to get you loose, dearie. Make way there, please, folks. Let the man through.
Let the man through.
McGee, here's the expert.
Oh, hi, Bud. I'm glad to see you.
Oh, hello.
Oh, my goodness, it's Wallace Wimple.
Are you really the inventor of this pavement, Mr. Wimple?
Yes, I am. And I'm dreadfully sorry that your husband got stuck, Mrs. McGee. Just makes me miserable to think of it.
What do you mean it makes you miserable? What do you think of me?
I'd rather not say in front of all these people.
Well, how do we get him out of there, Mr. Wimple?
Well, Mrs. McGee, as I see it, the whole thing depends on a chemical analysis of the material. Maybe we can dissolve some of it around his teeth.
Well, that's the first sensible remark that's been made today. What is the chemical formula, Wimple?
Oh, that's a secret, Mr. McGee.
What do you mean it's a secret?
That's what I mean. It's a secret.
Well, you know what the secret is, don't you?
No, but my wife does.
Your wife? What's she got to do with your invention?
Well, she's really the inventor. I'm only the one who saw the possibilities in it for paving material.
Well, what was it in the first place?
Her recipe for chocolate pudding. The minute I tasted it, I said to her, I said, Cornelia, I said, this would make wonderful paving material.
And what did she say?
I don't know. Everything went black. But here's what we better do, Mr. McGee.
I don't care what we better do, but let's do it.
All righty. I'll go home and analyze this material and see how we can dissolve it around your feet.
Will your wife give you the formula?
If she won't, Mrs. McGee, you'll have to use air hammers improperly.
Hey, go easy, fellas. You're getting awful close to my feet.
Be patient now. You're nearly free, dearie.
There you are, buddy. Sorry you got to go home with a hunk of pavement on each foot, but that's best we could do.
I imagine you can soak that off with turpentine, McGee.
Come on, dearie. Come on. I'll take one arm and Mr. Gildersleeve the other one.
Okay, much obliged, fellas. All right, one side there, everybody.
Stand back now. Can you walk a little, chum?
I think so. Let me try.
Yeah,
I can manage. Boy, is this a relief. I thought I'd never get out of there. You know what the first thing is I'm going to do is, Molly, after I get these hunks of pavement off of my feet is?
What, dearie?
I'm going to run right out and mail that letter for you.
Give me the letter, dearie.
No, sir. I started out to mail it, and by the Seven Sisters of Maud Kelly, I'm going to mail it.
It's no use, dearie. That letter's no good now.
What do you mean? Who is it to?
The street commissioner.
My goodness, Mrs. McGee, what did you want him to do?
Pave the street in front of our house.
Oh, sir.
Fibber and Molly will be back in just a moment. Here's a question several people have asked me lately. Is Johnson's Glow Coat good for other kinds of floors besides linoleum? Yes, it most certainly is. It's good for painted or varnished wood floors and for floors covered with rubber or asphalt tile. Glow Coat gives all these floors a real coat of protection, enhances their beauty, makes cleaning easy. And it's just as easy to apply Glow Coat to these floors as it is to linoleum. When the floor is clean, apply Glow Coat with a cloth or long-handled Glow Coat applier and let it dry for 20 minutes. Glow Coat polishes itself without any rubbing or buffing. That's why it's called self-polishing. Most women find Glow Coat especially helpful in protecting their kitchen linoleum floors because these floors get more than average wear. Linoleum manufacturers themselves recommend this easy, no-rubbing method for keeping linoleum clean, making it last longer. Try Johnson's self-polishing Glow Coat on your floor.
Ball of dad ratted. If that wasn't the darn
Who are you talking about, McGee? Egghead Vanderveen?
No, Egghead McGee. I'm disgusted. Making a receptacle of myself. Everybody jeering and pointing at me. And me squawking and hollering there like
Oh, now stop fussing about it. Wasn't that bad? And anyway, I'll give you credit for one thing.
What's that?
It's the first time you ever put your foot in it and then opened your mouth.
Harlow Wilcox, speaking for the makers of Johnson's Wax and Johnson's Self-Polishing Glow Coat, inviting you all to be with us again next Tuesday night. Good night.
Mr. Jones, do you have that new kind of enamel that contains wax?
Yes, indeed I have. And lots of my customers are buying it. Here it is, Johnson's Wax Enamel. And a wonderful enamel it is. See those 19 stunning colors, all selected by prominent decorators. Wax enamel gives a smoother finish and a more beautiful luster than any enamel I've ever handled. Not a harsh glare at all. And the wax in wax enamel gives it added protection against wear and makes it easier to clean. Here's a free color chart for you. Just try wax enamel on old furniture or on your bathroom or kitchen walls.
This is the National Broadcasting Company.
Golly, what a wallop! He rang the bell again.
He's feeling his Cheerios. Yes, Cheerios, that energizing breakfast cereal made from oats. Good, old-fashioned, nourishing oats, all ready to eat. Cheerios gives you a kind of nourishment that really counts. Cheerios is a cereal that really helps you build up strength and energy. So for your better breakfast, always start with Cheerios. Cheerios. Cheerios.
Keep it tuned right here to HOJO Radio for more classic old-time radio.
Good evening. I'm Mr. Barrett, one of the characters in the Mole Mystery Theater, which follows right away. I just want to remind you that although next winter seems very far away, right now is the time to do something about next winter's heating problem. The government says that fuel of all types is going to be scarce, so if you want to keep warm, you should go to your dealer now and get whatever kind and quantity of fuel he can let you have. Also, you should check up on all your heating equipment and make sure that you're not wasting fuel. And lastly, protect your home against loss of heat by installing insulation and weather stripping. Those are the ways in which you can protect your home against next winter's cold.
And now, the Mole Mystery Theater, presented by MOLLE. Mole, the brushless shaving cream that guards your tender skin with its special protective film.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Jeffrey Barnes welcoming you to the program that presents the best in mystery and detective fiction. Tonight we bring you an unusual tale of the supernatural by Oliver Onions entitled The Beckoning Fair One. It is a gripping study in human terror, the eerie story of a strange rebellion and the terrible consequences that followed. So here it is, The Beckoning Fair One.
My name is Paul Oleron. I'll tell it from the beginning, just the way it happened. I don't ask you to believe it. Just listen. I was working on my new novel, Romilly, when I decided to move. I looked over a couple of places and finally discovered one I liked.
Of course, it's not a new house, Mr. Oleron, but we'll do the place over for you any color you like.
They're certainly quaint-looking rooms, aren't they? Plenty of atmosphere here.
You writers will have your atmosphere. Are you sure you won't reconsider about taking the whole house, I mean? You never know who might rent the other floors, you know.
Well, if you don't mind my saying so, Mr. Barrett, you're not likely to have many people interested in living in this old relic.
Oh, it's not as bad as all that.
But I rather like the idea of being the only tenant in this venerable mansion.
Just as you like, Mr. Oleron.
Leave it to me, Mr. Barrett. I'll make my corner of it cozy enough. I was thoroughly pleased with my new quarters. There was an air of ancient charm about the place that appealed to my imagination. Then I discovered the handle in the window seat. That meant there was a box underneath. But the lid was stuck. I went to work on it with mallet and chisel. Paneling rang and vibrated. The whole house seemed to echo. Finally, I loosened the lid and pried it out. I drew out something soft and yielding, covered with dust. It was some kind of a large bag, triangular in shape. It had wide flaps and buckles. I couldn't imagine what it had been used for. Soon lost interest in it, depositing it in a corner of the room. Then I set about removing a large nail from the bottom of the lid. I spent the rest of the afternoon putting my manuscripts into the box. In the evening, Elsie Bengo paid me a visit. Elsie worked on a newspaper, and she was always enthusiastic over my work, especially the new novel, Romilly. Well, Elsie, what do you think of the place?
Oh, I don't know, Paul. I like the last place, in spite of the black ceiling and no water tap. How's Romilly coming?
Not very well.
Are you stuck?
Yep. Can't seem to get on with it.
Paul, would you like to read me some of it?
You don't understand, Elsie. I haven't done any more on it. Not a line.
Paul, you're joking.
Perfectly serious. I'm even considering scrapping the whole 15 chapters and starting over. Making Romilly a different type of woman.
You mean you're really going to scrap those 15 chapters?
You seem more concerned about it than I am.
Well, maybe I am. You've got what you've been working for almost within your reach. A novel that'll make you famous.
You still have a lot of confidence in Romilly, don't you?
And now you just want to scrap the whole thing. Paul, it's unforgivable.
Oh, what's the difference, Elsie? The important thing is I'm happier here than I've been for a long time.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to lecture you. It's just that... Well, I feel so close to Romilly. Paul, what's this thing in the corner here?
Suppose you tell me.
Why, it's a harp cover.
What?
It's a harp cover. It's been used to wrap up a harp before putting it into its case.
Oh, it must be a very old one. Oh, thanks for solving my mystery.
Paul? Paul, who lives in the rest of this house?
Nobody. I'm the only tenant.
Paul?
Yes?
May I tell you frankly what I feel about this place?
By all means.
You'll never work here.
Why on earth not?
I don't know why. But you'll never finish Romilly here.
That night, I sat by my fire, pondering over Elsie's prophecy. I looked around the room. It filled me with a sense of calm I'd never known before. The more I thought about Elsie Bengo, the more I became convinced I would have to destroy those 15 chapters. Unwittingly, I'd put too much of Elsie into my character of Romilly. And those qualities I disliked in Elsie Bengo, I found objectionable in Romilly. Then I became aware of the dripping water tap in the kitchen. had a tinkling range of 3 notes on which it seemed to play a tune. In my mind's eye, I could see the gathering of each drop, its little tremble on the lip of the tap, and the tiny musical sound of its fall. I found myself waiting to hear each drop over and over again.
Come in.
Good morning, Mr. Oleron. Have a good night's sleep.
Oh, the best, Miss Grayson, the best. You sure I'm not putting you out any, asking you to come over every morning and get my breakfast?
I don't mind it a bit. What's a caretaker's wife for if not to take care of things? Dear me, but that's a very old tune, Mr. Oleron. I haven't heard it in these 40 years.
Hmm? What tune?
Oh, the one you was humming. It's called the Beckoning Fair one.
Sing it for me.
Dear me, I haven't got any voice, but if you want, it went something like this.
Very, very pretty.
They do say it was sung to a harp. The tune must be at least 100 years old.
And I was humming it?
Indeed you were.
It's odd. I thought I heard that tune last night, dripping from the kitchen faucet. Silly idea. A faucet singing. As time passed, I became more and more attached to my apartment. But Elsie Bengo did not share my enthusiasm.
It just doesn't belong to today at all, Paul. You know, this is a dead house. Everything in it reeks of decay.
That's all in the point of view, isn't it, Elsie?
Is Romilly coming any better?
I think she is. I'm laying the foundations of her new character. I'll begin the actual writing soon.
You mean you discarded the old Romilly?
Yes.
Oh, where's the manuscript?
In the window box. What do you want it for?
I want to read you something. Bring you back to your senses. Maybe you'll hear someone else read. Oh!
What's the matter, Elsie?
Nothing. I just cut my finger. You ought to take that nail out of the lid, Paul.
But I thought I did. Oh, here, let me bandage it.
Please don't worry about it, Paul. It's only a scratch. Look, would you walk me down to the bus? It'll do you good to get out for a breath of fresh air.
I can't, Elsie. I really must get down to work.
No. No, that isn't why you won't go out. Oh, Paul, move out of here. Everything's wrong with this place.
Now, Elsie, please. Here, let me see you to the door.
Elsie!
This step. I put my foot through.
Oh, you poor girl.
It's so funny.
Elsie.
First this nail and now this step. Oh, Lord, it's so funny.
Elsie, let me help you.
No, don't let me go.
Elsie.
Please let me go away. I'm not wanted here.
Alone that night before my fireplace, I found myself considering Elsie's 2 accidents. I thought I'd removed that nail from the lid of the window box. But then I couldn't be too certain I hadn't left a bit of it still in the wood. And the staircase was an old one. Though it seemed strong enough to me, the step might have collapsed under anybody. Poor Elsie simply happened to be the victim. Now my imagination was beginning to play tricks with me. I actually fancied I heard my name in the sound of the dripping water tap. I laughed at myself. That's what came of too much thinking. Suddenly, I stopped laughing. I heard a rustling sound. It seemed to be coming from the center of the room. For a moment, I couldn't identify it. It was a long, sweeping sound, faint cracking in it. What is it? What's there? Who's there? That sound. It's a woman combing her hair. I've got to get out of here. I fled the house. I walked for hours in the cold, clear night. Gradually, my fear left me. I began to laugh at myself. Why, of course I hadn't removed that nail. Of course the wood in that step had been rotted through. As for the invisible woman brushing her hair, I'd been dreaming too much, that was all. It was morning by the time I got back to the house. I hadn't been to bed at all. I was tired. I found Mrs. Grayson, the caretaker's wife, waiting for me in my room.
Took the liberty of coming in, Mr. Oran, seeing as the door was open and you weren't home.
I've been out for a walk. You needn't bother about breakfast this morning, Miss Grayson. I'm not hungry.
From now on, Mr. Oleron, you'll have to make other arrangements for getting your breakfast.
What?
I won't be setting foot inside your door again.
Well, why? What's the matter?
I'm a respectable woman, and I'll not be serving a man who makes a habit of entertaining ladies in his room.
Ladies?
I'll make your bed for you this last time.
Make up my bed? That's a good one. I haven't been to bed yet. I haven't been here all night.
No? Well, somebody spent the night here, Mr. Oleron, because your bed's been slept in.
Well, mystery fans, do you think Paul Oleron's house is really haunted? Or is he bewitched by his own imagination? And is there anything he can do to save himself?
Yes, Mr. Barnes, there is. Listen to me. I was once bewitched, but I was saved by a magic word.
A magic word?
What word? Listen. My face was bewitched. Every time I shaved, I used to get invisible little nicks and scrapes. But then I learned the magic word. Mole!
Well, gentlemen, there is something magical about the way Mole protects your face against irritating little nicks and scrapes. But there's a common sense reason behind it. You see, Mole has a special protective film, a slick, smooth, moist film with more real body and substance than light, fluffy cream. Mole gives your razor something to ride on. Your razor rides along smoothly from the first stroke to the last without pulling or tugging at your whiskers. And then your tender skin gets the very best of protection against aftershave burn and irritation. Mole is made with ingredients of assured quality, ingredients that meet the official U.S. pharmacopoeia requirements for medical purity. So, gentlemen, try Mole, the brushless shaving cream that puts face protection first. And now back to Jeffrey Barnes and Act 2 of The Beckoning Fair One.
Paul Oleron, writer, had not been in his new living quarters long before strange things began to happen. Nails put themselves back into the wood. A leaking water tap played an old tune, and an invisible woman appalled Oleron's soul by combing her hair. He has just returned to his rooms after spending the night walking the streets and contemplating the beckoning fair one.
I looked at the rumpled bed. The sheets bore a distinct impression, as if somebody had lain on them. I knew that I hadn't been near the bed since Mrs. Grayson had made it the day before. I was face to face with it now. Something inhabited my room. But what? I was seized with a desire to know the thing, find out what it was. I lay down on the bed and tried to figure it out. It was becoming clear to me now that the key lay in my half-written novel, Romilly. Or rather, in both Romillys, the old one and the proposed new one. Looking back over it, I realized there was almost passionate hatred in the way
The new Romilly had supplanted the old. Somehow, all this was related to Elsie Bengough. One thing was certain. Elsie must not come inside this house again. That afternoon, I saw her coming up the walk. I hurried to meet her outside. I'm sorry, Elsie. I'm just going out. I've got an appointment downtown. You want to walk along with me?
Paul, you haven't many appointments. You just don't want me in the house. Well, I only wanted to tell you that everything's over between us.
Well, Elsie.
Let me finish, Paul. Something strange is happening to you.
Please, Elsie.
But if you ever need me, Paul, somehow I'll know it. And then I'll come.
Sorry to bother you so late, Mr. Barrett. There's something I've got to ask you.
Oh, glad to be of help if I can.
Yes, as renting agent for the house, you'd know something about the previous tenant, wouldn't you?
Yes. The last tenant in your rooms was an artist by the name of Madley. He seldom went out of the place. As a matter of fact, Madley died there under rather peculiar circumstances.
Yes?
It was discovered at the post-mortem that there wasn't a particle of food in his stomach.
Starved to death?
No, he starved to death, all right. Only it wasn't because he didn't have any money. You see, they found a bank book in his room proving he had $10,000 in a New York bank.
Suicide, then?
By starvation? It's rather an uncommon form of suicide, isn't it?
Then why? Why?
I don't know, Mr. Oran. Nobody ever found out.
I returned to the house. That there was a strange presence there, I was convinced. And now that I'd rid myself of Elsie Bengough, who had been the old inspiration for the character Romilly in my novel, I hoped to meet the beckoning fair one, she who was becoming the new inspiration. Once inside, I had to be calm. Convinced her that I didn't care whether she appeared or not. I lit a candle in the bedroom, drew down the blind, took off my coat, and stooped to get my slippers from under the bed. I straightened up. Reflected in the mirror, I saw a gleam of light in the center of the room. It moved up and down through the air. It was the reflection of the candle on my comb. And each of its downward movements was accompanied by a silky, crackling rustle. I went into the living room and returned with the manuscript of the old Romilly. The combing stopped immediately. I was no longer aware of the fair one's presence. As I thought. She's just jealous. Jealous. Night after night passed, and still I did not see her. My life became one passionate and consuming desire to see the new Romilly, the new heroine of my novel, who had fastened herself on my brain in the guise of the beckoning fair one.
Yes, sir? What can I do for you?
I want a bouquet of roses.
Yes, sir. Got some beauties today. Beauties for a beautiful lady, huh? Here's a nice bouquet.
That one will do.
Nothing like roses to win the heart of the fair one, eh?
What'd you say?
I was just making conversation.
You said something about the fair one.
Just a manner of speaking, sir. I didn't mean any offense.
Oh, of course not. I'm sorry. I'll take those flowers now, and I want you to deliver a bouquet of these to my house every morning for the next 2 weeks. I'd made the arrangements with the florist so I wouldn't have to leave the house at all. I hoped the flowers would unbend her coy, stubborn will. They did no good. I lost track of the days. I walked through my rooms with slippered feet now, treading softly, afraid of frightening her away. I kept the windows shut and the crimson blinds down. In this enticing, flower-laden place, I waited for the beckoning fair one. I searched my mind for some reason why she held herself back from me. Suddenly it came to me. The manuscript of the old Romilly, those 15 chapters. I was a fool to think that the new Romilly would show herself to me as long as there existed evidence of my former attachment. I took the manuscript from the window box and was about to throw it into the fire. No! Who's there?
It's Elsie.
Go away. I can't see you now.
Please let me in, Paul.
No.
Paul, you're in trouble. I know you are.
I'm all right. Go away.
Paul, I only want to help. I promised I'd come if you needed me. Paul. Paul. Please answer me. Paul.
I didn't answer.
Paul.
She was a fool. Coming here where she was not wanted. Why didn't she leave me alone? Her voice only irritated me. Soon her calling stopped. I heard her footsteps going down the stairs. Destroyed the manuscript of my old novel, Romilly, page by page. Then I lay down to wait again. How long, how many days? I don't know. I was beyond the world of calendars and clocks. Gradually, the strength drained from my body. I gazed vacantly at the star-patterned ceiling. Sometimes I had a fleeting recollection of a novel to be written. It was like something far off. Sometimes I thought about Madley, the previous tenant who had lived here before me, and I wondered whether she had played her coy game with him.
Paul. Paul.
Elsie, how did you get in here?
Paul, listen to me. If you're not well, darling, let me take care of you. I said I'd come when you needed me, Paul.
Wait. She called my name. She's here at last.
Paul, what is it? I don't hear anything.
Elsie, get out. Quickly.
No, I won't leave, Paul.
Elsie, you must kill.
Now, up here on the second floor, you've got 4 big rooms. Plenty of light and air.
Certainly a quaint-looking place. Say, isn't this the part of the house where that writer lived, the one who's being executed tonight?
Yes, this is it.
What was the name of that girl he murdered?
Elsie Bengo. Of course, it's not a new house, but we'll be glad to do the place over for you. The water tap leaks slightly, but it won't bother you.
And so we have heard how the strange voice of an unseen woman drove Paul Oleron to commit a murder.
Yes, Mr. Barnes, the voice gave him evil advice. But now, listen to a voice that gives helpful advice.
Mole puts face protection first.
Yes, gentlemen, Mole does put face protection first. It guards your face against annoying little nicks and scrapes because it's got a special protective film, a slick, smooth film with plenty of real body and substance. Mole gives your razor something to ride on. Your razor rides along smoothly from the first stroke to the last, and you get a close, clean shave without any pulling or tugging at your whiskers. You'll find that your shaves will get better, better, and better when you use M-O-L-L-E. Mole, the brushless shaving cream that puts face protection first.
This is Jeffrey Barnes again, ladies and gentlemen, inviting you to be with us next week when we will bring you L.A.G. Strong's dramatic story of premeditated murder entitled Breakdown. A man is caught in the complicated web of a love triangle, which he realizes is slowly driving him insane. He attempts to solve his problem with a carefully planned murder, but it comes to a disastrous climax. So, mystery fans, be sure to listen next week to L.A.G. Strong's compelling adventure in crime, Breakdown.
The original music for the Mole Mystery Theater is composed and conducted by Jack Miller. The Beckoning Fair One was written by Oliver Onions and adapted for radio by Eric Arthur. Until next Tuesday, this is Dan Seymour saying good night and good shaving with the brushless shaving cream that puts face protection first. Mole.
Are molehills mountains to you? Are you too tired, too weary to face daily problems? Then listen. Doctors may find that your fatigue is caused by a borderline anemia. Yes, a borderline anemia resulting from a ferronutritional deficiency of the blood. Decide now to throw off depressing fatigue with the help of ironized yeast tablets. They're formulated to overcome borderline anemia by helping to build up red blood cells. Take IY, ironized yeast tablets, to get more vigor, more drive, more energy.
In the month just ahead, there will be many days that are cloudy and gray. Isn't it very important on such days to have your home bright and cheerful? Your kitchen especially, where you spend so many hours? There's one thing that will brighten your kitchen more than anything else. Gleaming linoleum floors kept fresh and spotless with Johnson's self-polishing Glow Coat. Glow Coat requires no rubbing or buffing. There's practically no work to it. You just apply Glow Coat, it shines while it dries with no further work from you. It not only keeps your floors beautiful, but it actually makes linoleum last many times longer than an unprotected floor. Glow Coat is safe, easy to use, and sure to please. Try some tomorrow on your floors. Ask for Johnson Self-Polishing Glow Coat. GLO-COAT.
Stay tuned to HOJO Radio.
From Hollywood, the NBC Theater presents... Screen Director's Assignment. Production, The Best Years of Our Lives. Director, William Wyler. Star, Dana Andrews. Hollywood Screen Directors present a dramatic document from a time so well remembered. The Academy Award-winning motion picture story, The Best Years of Our Lives, starring Dana Andrews and introducing the director of the film, William Wyler. The old adage that one picture is worth 1,000 words comes readily to hand when speaking of tonight's guest screen director. For no description of his painstaking artistry can equal the simple statement that he is the director of such truly great motion pictures as Dead End, Wuthering Heights, Mrs. Miniver, and the soon-to-be-released Paramount film, The Heiress. Ladies and gentlemen, the Academy Award-winning director of The Best Years of Our Lives, Mr. William Wyler.
Thank you. I wanted very much to make The Best Years of Our Lives because, along with the fiction of the story, there is a deep truth of homecoming servicemen whose most familiar memories had suddenly become strange. One of the reasons I liked the story was that I had lived that part of it myself, just as many of you have. And now perhaps we'll live it again. Here is The Best Years of Our Lives, starring Dana Andrews in his original role of Fred Derry, with Janet Waldo as Peggy Stevenson.
Look at it this way. Your name is Fred Derry. You were a bombardier for most of the war in Europe. But the war is over. You're still in your captain's uniform, but now you're going home. There are 2 other men up front with you in the old B-17. Homer Parrish, the Navy man, got on with you in New York. The older man got on at Wright Field.
Hiya, Captain. My name's Al Stevenson.
Fred Derry. Hiya, Sarge. Well, this is Homer Parrish, Navy.
Hello, Al. You both from Boone City, too?
We sure are.
Shake, Fred. Shake, Homer.
What you liked about Al Stevenson right away was this. He grabbed Homer's forearm and pumped it warmly without even a glance at the steel hooks that took the place of hands at the end of Homer's arms.
Gee, things sure look beautiful from up here.
I never thought so. This used to be my office, sort of.
Bombardier, weren't you?
Yeah.
Cigarette, Fred?
Don't mind.
Homer? Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right. I can get it. Thanks, Al.
Match?
I've got it.
Thanks, Homer.
Al?
Much obliged, Navy.
You ought to see me open a bottle of beer with these hooks.
You got nothing to worry about, Homer.
I can dial telephones. I can drive a car. I can even put nickels in jukeboxes.
But what, Homer?
You see, I've got a girl.
She knows what happened, doesn't she?
Well, sure, but she doesn't know what these hooks are like.
Well, she's the right kind, isn't she?
Sure, Al, but after all...
Then you'll be okay, kid. Just wait and see.
Toss you boys for who pays for the airport taxi.
Same old Boone City. Hasn't changed a bit.
Excited, boys?
Nervous.
Well, the thing I'm scared of is everybody's going to want to rehabilitate me.
All I want is a good job with a future and a little house big enough for me and my wife.
Oh, stop in at the bank when I'm around and swing a loan.
Are you a banker?
A man's got to live.
You married, Al?
20 years.
20 years? Whew. I wasn't married 20 days before I went across.
Hey, there's Butch's place. He's got a neon sign.
Who's Butch?
Butch Engel. He's my uncle. Best joint in town.
Hey, easy on those curves, Mac. We're delicate.
This is my street. First house past that fire hydrant, Mac. Hey, how about the 3 of us going back to Butch's place for a couple of drinks, huh? Then I'll go home.
You're home now, kid. Face it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll take a rain check on Butch's.
Okay, boys. Be seeing you at Butch's.
Ten minutes later, you drop off Al Stevenson in front of the swankiest apartment in town.
Oh, I feel as if I were going in to hit a beach again. So long, Captain.
And then it's your turn. Your turn to come home. Your turn to face civilian life again, get a job, find out where you belong, if you belong. Your turn to press a doorbell and wait. There's no answer. Then you remember that Marie works in a nightclub, but you don't know where. You're at loose ends. You think, I could stand a drink. Butch's place, best joint in town, Homer said. Okay. Taxi!
Hey, Butch, stop torturing that piano.
Homer Parrish. I don't believe it.
Hi, Unc.
Gee, it's good to see you, kid.
Homer!
Fred, how'd you get here?
Hiya, Homer, old shipmate. Now, why aren't you home with your folks?
Oh, they went to bed and I wasn't sleepy, so I just went out.
That all?
Well, I dropped the lemonade.
What?
At home. Slipped out of my... Well, you'd think it was something awful the way Wilma ran out of the room crying.
Wilma, that's your girl, isn't it?
Yeah. Where's your wife, Fred?
Well, she's working. I couldn't find out where, so I came here.
Drop off Al, okay?
Yeah, swankiest apartment in town. We'll never see him again.
Hey, Millie, this is it. This is the best place we've been in yet tonight.
Hey, it's Al.
Speak of the devil.
Hey, Al. Banker. Got change for a nickel?
Homer. Freddie, my boy.
How's it, Al?
Buddies.
to Millie, my wife, and Peggy, my daughter.
Hi.
Homer of the Navy and Fred of the Air Force.
How do you do?
Homer, I just had a telephone call for you.
For me, Butch? What about?
Woman'd like for you to come home.
Oh, why can't they leave a guy alone?
Maybe because they're fond of you, Homer.
He left the house in a peeve, got them all worried.
Well, they get me nervous. Well, nice meeting you, folks. Good night, all. See you later, soldiers.
Bye.
Take it easy, Homer.
Good night.
He isn't happy.
He dropped the lemonade, period.
I tried not to notice his hooks.
That's the trouble. People just keep staring at them, or else they keep staring away from them.
Hey, I feel like dancing.
That's a charming idea.
Well, I'm a charming fellow. Come on, girl.
Oh, don't yank at me.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1.
So you're Al's daughter.
Peggy, you're Fred.
I'm, just a little bit under the weather.
You've got a tough job ahead, catching up with Dad.
Why isn't he at home with his family? His first night home in 3 years.
Why are you under the weather? Why did Homer rush out of the house tonight?
Nervous out of the service, I guess.
Sure.
Hey, somebody, give that Air Force captain a drink. He's way behind.
Right. She's on fire. Her wing's on fire. She's on fire. She's going down. Bail out, you guys. Kodorsky, get out of that plane. There goes the tail gunner.
Fred, what's the matter?
Get out of there, Kodorsky. She's burning up.
Fred!
Get out. Get out.
Wake up, Fred. Wake up.
She's burning. Jump for it. Get out. Get out,
It's
jump.
all right, Fred. It's me, Peggy. It's all right.
Peggy.
It's all right, Fred. Go back to sleep now.
What? What am I doing here?
Well, your wife still wasn't home when we drove you to your apartment. We took you to our house. Now go back to sleep. Just rest. Go to sleep. Rest. Eggs all right, sir?
Fine, Peggy, thanks. Yeah, but you shouldn't have let Al bring me here last night.
Oh, we were very glad to have you, so let's talk about other things.
Like what?
Well, what did you do before the war?
I was a fountain attendant.
What's that?
Soda jerk.
Oh. Will you go back to that, Fred?
No. Somehow I can't picture myself getting excited over a root beer float anymore.
Can you get excited over more of my coffee?
Oh, thanks, but I'd better be taking off.
You and your wife must come over to dinner sometime.
Fine. Oh, about that dream last night. You were very kind. And you never mentioned it this morning.
Oh.
Oh, you've been swell about everything. I think they ought to put you into mass production.
Thanks, Fred. I'll drive you home now.
Well, this is a fine time to... Freddie!
Marie!
Oh, Freddie, darling. Well, why didn't you let me know?
You know now, honey, I'm home.
Oh, darling, darling. Oh, Fred, I've missed you so. It's so silly, Fred. Isn't it silly, darling? I feel just like a bride again.
You are listening to the Hollywood Screen Directors presentation of The Best Years of Our Lives, starring Dana Andrews with Janet Waldo, and introducing the director of the film, William Wyler.
You've been taking your time getting used to being a civilian again, to being home. You don't want your old job back, but you do want to see Mr. Bullard at the drugstore who lost his son in the war. A big drug chain bought Bullard out, but he's still there filling prescriptions. Somehow, without your wanting it, he leads you upstairs and introduces you to Mr. Thorpe, the employment manager, and the first thing you know, you're being interviewed for a job.
But of course you understand, dearie, that since this business changed hands, we're not under any legal obligation to give you your old job back.
I wasn't thinking about my old job, Mr. Thorpe. I hope for something better.
Uh-huh. What experience have you had?
I worked 2 years behind the fountain here and 3 years behind a Norden bomb site.
Any experience purchasing supplies in the Army?
No, I just dropped bombs.
You were an officer. You probably acted in an executive capacity. You had to command men.
No, sir. I was just responsible for getting bombs on the target. I didn't command anything.
Mm-hmm. Well, we might be able to provide an opening for you as assistant floor manager. Your work would require part-time duty behind the fountain.
I don't think I'll be... What salary?
$32.50 per week.
I was getting more than $400 a month in the Air Force.
Derry, the war is...
Over, yes, I know. Well, I'll look around, Mr. Thorpe. Thank you very much, anyhow. It makes you think for a minute, but then you stop worrying about it. You've got $1,000 right out of the U.S. Treasury, and that's money. You take your wife out to Jackie's hot spot that night. Next time, it's the Blue Devil. You buy a couple of suits, you pay the rent. You look for a job, you pay your insurance. You buy Marie a coat, and you get the flu, and you pay the doctor. You look for work more seriously now. You buy some badly needed furniture on payments. You pay the rent. You bring home a can of soup, potato salad, salami, and a loaf of rye bread on the cuff.
Hey, Fred, what's the idea of the delicatessen?
That's dinner tonight.
Oh, we're going to Frankie's Chow Mein Bazaar tonight.
We're eating at home.
Are you sick or something?
We're broke.
You mean broke?
You've got it.
Well, what about getting yourself some work?
I've been trying and hoping I'd land something good.
Well, you can't have been trying very hard.
Sure I have, Marie. But they tell me I've got to spend a couple of years going to trade school.
And what would I be doing in the meantime?
Helping me with my homework.
Are you kidding?
No, I'm not kidding.
Fred, are you all right in your mind? I mean,
Do you think I've gone goofy?
Well, you talk in your sleep at night, honey. You yell something's on fire or Godowski get out and... Who is Godowski?
Godorsky. He was a buddy of mine. Pilot of a B-17. He got it over Berlin. Thanks for asking.
Well, anyhow, I got some money saved up, and I'll buy you dinner tonight.
I appreciate your offer, baby, but we're eating at home.
Mm-hmm. Not me. I'm not. I'll go out myself then.
Now, wait a minute, Marie.
Go on my arm.
When we got married, that justice of the peace said, for richer, for poorer, for better, for worse, remember? Well, this is the worse.
Yeah. And when does it start getting to be better?
I guess when I wake up to realize I'm not an officer and a gentleman anymore. Just a soda jerk out of a job. Unless that job is still open at the drugstore.
Mr. Derry, will you explain this complexion cream to me, please?
I'll be with you in just a minute, madam. Peggy!
Hello, Fred.
How did you know I was working here?
I called your wife to invite you both over to dinner. She told me to ask you.
Are you doing anything for lunch?
What? No.
I'll see you at Lucia's in 20 minutes. Next, please. It's a funny thing, Peggy. When I was overseas, I told myself, when I get home, I'll never eat in joints like this.
I like it. It's cozy and private in this little booth.
I also told myself I'd never go back to work in that drugstore.
Fred, forgive me, but is Marie what you dreamed about overseas, too?
Why?
You know why, Fred.
Why?
Well, the way she talked about you to me, a stranger on the telephone. The things she says and the way she says them.
How was she on the drugstore cowboy soda jerk routine?
Oh, you see, you do know what I mean. Fred, she's ruining your life, breaking your spirit. I can tell by the way you act and the way you talk. I know I shouldn't talk this way.
Then don't. Let's face reality.
But sometimes reality can be just what you dreamed about. You never know about people until they're put to the test.
I found that out.
But there's a friend of mine, one of these expensive girls from the horsey set who never could think beyond the next cocktail party. Last year, she married a boy just out of the Marines. And now they have a baby. He's taking a course at Ohio State, and they live in a trailer, and she loves it.
Does she think it's worth it?
She happens to love the guy. Did you hear me, Fred?
I heard you. Peggy, I want to kiss you. Say no, and I won't.
I won't say no, Fred. I won't say no. Mother, there's something I...
Yes, Peggy?
Dad,
Yes. Go on, girl, go on.
I had lunch today with Fred Derry, and he kissed me.
Kissed you?
I practically asked for it.
Peggy, are you in love with Fred?
I didn't want to be, but I am.
Well, what about his wife?
He's miserable with her. She's destroying him little by little, and I can't allow it.
Peggy, is Fred in love with you?
He loves me, and he hates her. I know it.
Maybe you know it. That's for me to find out. Fred, I wanted you to meet me here at Butcher's to ask you a question.
Shoot, Al.
I'll get right to the point.
Do that.
Are you in love with Peggy?
Yes.
In our family, we tell each other things. Peggy says that your wife doesn't love you.
That comes as a surprise and a shock.
Nevertheless, she is your wife.
Nevertheless.
Fred, I happen to be quite fond of Peggy, and
you don't want her mixed up with a heel like me.
I haven't called you a heel, Fred. You see, I'm quite fond of you, too.
Thanks.
But I give you fair warning. I'm going to do everything I can to help her forget about you and get married to someone who can make her happy.
Anything else?
No.
Suppose I don't see her anymore. Suppose I call her up and tell her so. That satisfy you?
Yes.
All right, I'll take care of it before I go back to work. Well, the drinks are on me, Al. One orange juice, one thin hot cake, draw one, burn one.
Hey, Bud, what about a ham and cheese on rye?
Yes, sir. Ham and cheese, Doc.
Without mustard, huh?
Save the war paint.
Hey, Fred, give me a chocolate sundae, huh?
Come, my lad. For you, the house. I'll attend to that special order myself in person.
Excuse me.
Yeah?
Mind if I ask you a personal question?
I know. How did I get these hooks, and how did they work?
Yeah, partly that, and partly...
Well, I'll tell you. I got sick and tired of that old pair of hands I had. Always washing them and manicuring my nails. So I traded them in for these latest models. They work by radar. See?
Here's your ham and cheese on rye, sir. And a chocolate sundae for the Navy.
Thanks, Fred. See, mister? Here's how I pick up a spoon. Pretty cute, huh?
You've got guts, all right. Only what good did it do you?
I don't get you.
Me either. Well, the Japs and the Germans really had nothing against us. They just wanted to fight the Limeys and the Reds. We got in on the wrong side.
You mean you liked what the Nazis were doing in Europe?
Maybe you think Pearl Harbor was just a prank.
I'm not talking to you, soda boy.
Listen, brother, you better pay your check and go home.
So we were suckers, were we? We should have been on the side of the
The Japs and the Germans.
All I ask you to do is look at the facts. All Germany wanted was
I saw a ship go down with over 400 of my shipmates.
Take it easy, Homer.
I want to know if those guys were suckers, too.
Read the papers. Why don't you
I
read...
want to know if I was a sucker to lose my hands and get these hooks.
Keep those hooks away from my face, you crazy sailor.
Let go of me.
Look out.
Let go of my arms.
Take your hands off that kid. Shut up, you dumb soda jerk.
So help me, all I want is one poke at you. One...
Here. What's going on here? Good heavens. Gary, what happened here?
I reached over and sucked this guy.
You saw... druggist, Mr. Bullard. Spirits of ammonia, please. Bandages, hurry up. Why, you struck a customer.
I know. The customer is always right, so I'm fired. But this customer wasn't right. Come on, Homer. Let's get out.
Gee, Fred, sorry I lost your job for you.
Believe me, Homer, you did me a good turn.
That guy, he insulted my shipmates that are dead. Then saying I lost my hands for nothing.
Homer, stop here. I want to know something. I want to know when you and Wilma are getting married.
Married?
Doesn't she want to get married?
Well, she wants to, but...
Then go to her. Now, take her in your arms, kiss her, ask her to marry you, then marry her.
Now, look, Fred, I'm pretty good with these hooks, but... Well, take it night. Someone has to take them off for me, just for example. Someone has to unhook all the harness under my shirt.
That's right. So?
Well, I'm helpless then. I can't even pick up the harness again without my hooks. My hooks are part of the harness.
That's right. So you get someone else to pick up that harness for you, and then you'll be able to do something for her.
Wilma?
Homer, your shipmates died so you could keep what's yours and get what's coming to you. And if you don't do it, then you're letting those men down. Now, you go ask Wilma. I know what she'll say. And congratulations, kid.
Hath joined together, let no man put asunder. For as much as Homer and Wilma have consented together in holy wedlock, and have witnessed the same before
You've
God
seen Homer slip a ring on Wilma's finger with those hooks of his. And the tears in your eyes aren't pity, but pride. What a guy, you think. What a man. And you're proud.
I pronounce that Homer and Wilma are man and wife. God bless you both.
Congratulations.
And you look across the room, and there's Peggy, looking at you with her heart in her eyes. And you think, well, if Homer could do what he's done, you can be the kind of a guy Al Stevenson wants his daughter's husband to be. You go over to her, and nothing is said. You take her in your arms, and you kiss her. And she lets you kiss her. Then you talk. You say, I've got a new job, Peggy.
I'm glad, Fred.
My wife's left me. Marie couldn't take it. She's getting a divorce. Peggy, it may take us years to get anywhere, you and me. We'll have no money, no decent place to live in, have to work, get kicked around.
I don't care, Fred. I can take it. I can take it.
All at once you realize you're wasting time talking. You take Peggy in your arms again. You don't care who's looking. And you know that you didn't give the best years of your life to the Air Force. You fixed the clock, and the best years of your life are just ahead of you, where they belong.
Our stars will return in just a moment. Next week, the NBC Theater mixes music and romance as again we bring your favorite motion picture entertainment to the microphone. Our story will be The Sky's the Limit, and our star, Fred Astaire. And now, here again are Dana Andrews and Janet Waldo and screen director William Wyler.
Dana, it must have been wonderful awful working under a great director like Mr. Weiler.
Oh, it was. He taught me a great deal.
About acting?
I taught him how to be a magnificent soda jerk.
Janet, he really made me take a course in being a fountain clerk.
Dana, you're a lucky man. If things get too bad, you've always got something to fall back on.
Yeah, I know. 2 scoops and a squirt of chocolate.
But why did you have to learn so much about it?
Realism. We had a real soda fountain on the set.
Realism. He'd sit in his director's chair and say, Dana, let's say you mix a cherry sundae.
Well, what's wrong with that?
I'd mix it, and he'd say I wasn't doing it right. Then he'd eat the sundae and tell me to do it again. That went on for days. He was eating up the props like crazy.
Is that right, Mr. Weiler?
Well, sweet tooth, you know. I gained 10 pounds, but it didn't show in the picture. That's one advantage a director has over an actor.
Janet, as long as we're telling the truth about Willie Weiler, you know how they say he's such a wonderful director.
Oh, yes.
Well, you can believe every word of it. In fact, Willie, I think so much of you, I'm going to take you out and buy you a banana split.
Wonderful. Come on, Jack.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, folks.
Good night.
And good night to you, Dana Andrews, Janet Waldo, and William Weiler. Dana Andrews appeared through the courtesy of Samuel Goldwyn, upon whose Academy Award-winning motion picture tonight's presentation was based. Mr. Andrews can soon be seen in the forthcoming Universal International production, The Sword in the Desert. Included in tonight's cast were Ted Von Eltz, David Ellis, Virginia Gregg, Howard McNear, Gerald Moore, Ken Christie, G.G. Pearson, Earl Ross, and Dan Riss. The Best Years of Our Lives, based on a novel by McKinley Cantor, was adapted for radio by Milton Geiger from the screenplay by Robert E. Sherwood. Original music was composed and conducted by Henry Russell, and production was under the supervision of Howard Wiley. Associate producer, Ray Dietrich. Your announcer has been Frank Barton. Listen again next week when the NBC Theater presents...
Screen Director's Assignment. Production, The Sky's the Limit. Director, Edward H. Griffith. Star, Fred Astaire.
The NBC Theater came to you from Hollywood.
Bobby Riggs, the holder of the world's professional tennis championship, plays a dazzling game of tennis. And he handles a razor as smoothly as he does a tennis racket. Bobby Riggs is a brush and lather shaver. He writes me that Colgate lather shaving cream helps give him that smoothness in shaving. Here's his letter.
Want to know why I'm sold on Colgate lather shaving cream, Bill?